It's time for Shawn and Maya in the morning.
Quick pitch to Walter, looking for the record, cuts back, he's got it, he's out of it at 25 to the 26-yard line. Walter Payton becomes the National Football League all-time leading rusher. Jordan, open, Chicago with the lead. The Chicago Bulls have won their 6th NBA championship. Chicago has won the Stanley Cup. Palmero over the head of Jenks. Uribe charges, throws, out! And the White Sox have won the World Series.
A little bouncer slowly toward Bryant. He will glove it, go to Rizzo. It's in time. And the Chicago Cubs win the World Series.
What up, what up, what up? Welcome to Shawn and Maya in the morning on this House Music Monday, baby. Look at me, I'm fired up, baby. I got my White Sox house head shirt on. I'm ready to roll, baby. It is a new week, new goals. You set them and crush them. Set them and crush them. Set them and crush them. That's how we do. Beast mode activated. It's Monday, baby. Guys, I'm your boy, the Superback, Shawn Sierra. Thanks for tuning in. Now, if you're watching this on Facebook Live, well, then I guess you found us on Facebook. Now, if you haven't liked our page on Facebook, please do so. Shawn and Maya in the morning, and also SportsZone Chicago. Like SportsZone Chicago. Now, if you're watching us on our YouTube channel, first of all, thank you very much. But I think you found us on YouTube. Now, if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, go do so. What are you waiting for? What are you doing? What are you waiting for? Go subscribe to SportsZone Chicago. If you're watching us on our app, Charlie, then I guess you found us on our app. And listen, if you haven't downloaded the app, what the heck are you waiting for? Go download the app wherever you get your apps from. Go download SportsZone Chicago. Whew, man, it's been one heck of a weekend, a heck of a morning. Man, got out of CrossFit. I'm feeling good. I'm fired the freak up, baby. I'm excited to talk to you folks because there's a lot going on. We got a lot of sports going on. Listen, you can tweet the show. Hey, listen. Oh, I forgot. I almost forgot. What was I thinking? See, I'm so fired up this morning from all the things. Do you like that new promo that Ivan, come on up, Papa. Come on up. That shit was dope. that shit was dope.
I went to I stood up last night doing it because I was just like, all right, I don't have football to be zeroed in on anymore. So I can give my attention to other things. So I was just sitting here like, man, I don't feel like going to sleep. So I just started messing around, and I don't know. The idea is there. So I feel like it's good, but I feel like I'm gonna mess with it a little bit more.
I like it, dude. I like it. Guys, say what's up to my Puerto Rican Swiss Army knife. He's the man behind the curtain, the man that makes it all run. Ivan Vargas, man, dude, that was dope. That shit was dope. Is all I got to say.
Cool, man. That's what I was going for. It's dope.
Well, you hit it right in the head, man. Holy cow.
Hey, I was telling you, I sent you that text message the other day. I was like, man, the Blackhawks, man. I know this is 2 days in a row or 2 shows in a row where I let off with the Blackhawks, but the last game was pretty good. Like the last game was better because it was a win. Mm-hmm. They got a win. I would like for it to be 2 in a row now because I can't believe they gave up 4 goals in the third period, the game prior. But, I really like this Blackhawks team. I really like this Blackhawks team. We saw a fight. We saw some tenacity. We saw some resolve. You know what I mean? Like they're a young, scrappy team, and they're there to fight, dude. I'm looking. You and I both talked about this a lot. It's like a unicorn. Playoff hockey, spring hockey is like a unicorn for us. We could first of all, you have immediate playoff season going into summer, right? And your team's in it. Oh, bro, the best time.
Hands down. And then I agree with you. I'm liking this team. They're showing a lot of fight. They're showing a lot of resolve. They're showing a lot of gumption. They're showing some balls. Bottom line, they're showing some balls, and they're not easily they're not easily swayed. They gave up 4 goals in the third period, and the next day they come back and win. a team which isn't mentally strong, it can collapse them because they're playing the same team the next night.
Right.
And they came back the next night. The night that you're talking about, 1-3-2, which we're going to talk about a little bit today. And it just, the one thing that I see that it seems like what they're doing is they're shaking it off. Once the game's over, it's done. Over and done with, you move on. And in pro sports, like in life, a lot of things, that's exactly what you have to do. You have to put them in your rearview mirror and keep moving forward. And I think Jeremy Colleton is getting a lot more credit, especially from me. But I think he's getting a lot more credit from the rest of the fan base about what he's doing on that bench. About what he's doing on that bench. Because I'll tell you what, this guy is really, I would tease and joke, oh, he's a great communicator. But it shows that he's communicating, he's getting this message across to his players. So I'm pretty happy with what's going on. You give me next year, the 21-22 season, or maybe 22-23, 21-22 season, I think it's going to be a little, it's going to be a little different. So I'm excited, and you still won't have maximized or exhausted Patrick Kane's and Jonathan Tays' talents at that particular point. So I think that's cool. Well, listen, if you want to tweet the show, you can tweet us at SM_mornings, at SM_mornings, or at SportsZone Shy, at SportsZone Shy. That's CHI at SportsZone Shy. Now, if you want to follow me, just me, personally online, want to know what I did? Let me tell you what I did. Want to know what I did? Here's what I did. I'm going to nice and easy for you, folks. Nice and easy. One handle for Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, the Snap Out. All one handle at the Shawn Sierra. If you want to follow my lovely co-host, Maya Akai, you can follow her on Facebook and Twitter at the Sports Chica. If you want to follow her on Instagram because you do it just for the gram, follow her at Maya_Akai. That's MAYA_AKAI. Man, we have a great show, and I'm fired up about it. We got a great show for you today. Listen, besides the usual cast of characters, you know how we do. Our guy Joseph Phillips is going to be up in a moment. Kenneth Davis takes the baton from 10 to 11.
You want a little Mike Tyson there?
Did I go to Mike Tyson?
It's Kenneth Davis. I was like, whoa.
Kenneth Davis. Kenneth Davis. Say that 5 times real fast. From the 10 to 11, and then Jason Palmer runs the anchor leg from 11 to 12 as he sits in with us. But today at 10 o'clock, we have Shawn Devaney from Heavy.com who covers Bulls. He covers the NBA, so we're going to talk Bulls with Shawn Devaney. What did I say Kevin for? I don't even know. Shawn Devaney at 10 o'clock. Because then at 11 o'clock, our guy from Sports Mockery, Eric Lambert. This guy does nothing but talk Bears, but write Bears, but tweet Bears. Nothing but write and tweet and talk Bears. So we're going to talk to him because now it seems like the Bears have moved on to another quarterback, another target of interest in their that would be the perfect quarterback for them right now. He should come out of retirement, Jay. Come out of retirement, Papa. Come on. So Eric Lambert at 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock, Shawn Devaney talking Bulls with us from Heavy.com. And then 11 o'clock, our guy, Eric Lambert from Sports Mockery with Bears Talk. So, Joe's a little late today. Interesting. Wonder if he might be recovering from that crazy house party he had Friday.
Yeah, that's right. There's some holes in this. He says that's not how it went down. He says that's not how it went down. But what time the kids go to bed?
Remember, I had to ask him. I was like, wait a minute. Is there an adult punch?
There's always an adult section of a child's like I don't know.
Yes, you have to.
There's an adult section. It's like, hey, you can run over by here, but get your little ass out of here.
Go stay over there.
Go, run. But no, I'm sure he's been working hard and stuff. But no, man, for me, I feel like going into this season, right? Going into this basketball hockey season, I feel like both teams, as of right now, we looked at them like, man, what are the Bulls going to do with Billy Donovan? There were still questions about the roster, and I know Joseph's in here right now. But I feel like both teams are right about where we wanted them. Maybe the Hawks are a tick above the Bulls, But I feel like both teams were right where they wanted them. But surprisingly, I feel optimistic about the second half.
So I texted a buddy of mine, Armando Lara Jr. as so he's streaming this on to his TV. He's mirroring this onto the TV. So I don't know if you can see it. So my buddy Armando's holding his grandson, Mondo the fourth, because he's Armando Lara Jr. His son's he's Armando Emeterio Lara the second or junior. His son is Armando Emeterio Lara the third. And Mondo just had his girlfriend just had a baby 6 months ago. And so it's Armando Emeterio Lara the fourth. So that's pretty cool. But you know what, guys, you know how we do. What? Now, why would you want to bring back Cutler? Man, Vernon, get your crazy butt out of here. You know, Cutler is the man. Okay, give him some time. All you had to do was give Cutler some time. Cutler was running for his life most of the time. Okay. Now he's got some receivers, and I know he had some receivers with Marshall and Keyshawn, but Alshon Jeffries. Where's my mind today? I don't know. I didn't even drink that much this weekend. What the heck,
bro? You good? You good?
I don't know. I don't know if I'm good or not.
Like, now, brown cow. Like,
now, brown. And Cutler was a man. And don't get me wrong, he had his flaws like every quarterback. Let's not get it twisted. But you put him with this running game, I'm liking it. With this defense, I'm liking it. But anyway, Vernon, guys, you know how we do the first segment of every show. It's called Top of the Morning to you. And these are the hot topics of the night before. It's just some sports in general. And boy, oh boy, do we have some doozies. The Top of the Morning segment is powered by the Chicago Crusader newspaper. And with that, we bring in their guy. We bring in your guy. We bring in our guy. He's the man. I'm not surprised. No wonder he's late. He's partying all night. There's a hole in the house. There's a hole in the house. If you see him pouring out, he had a big old party Friday. They probably ended up Sunday afternoon on his crazy butt. Anyway, let's bring him out. This is a guy you can find on Twitter at ACA Joe. Let's bring him out, Joseph Phillips. Joseph, what's up, Papa?
What's up, Papa? God bless.
You cold over there? You got the shivers? This
is my Trey Young invitation, ice tray. When he hit the three, he does this.
I thought you're tweaking over there.
No, it's actually cold in this room. It's actually cold in this room because I got on my short sleeve. I got my guns out today. So
hey, you got a Ford card for that, dude? You got a Ford card for those? You son of a gun.
It's
a little cold here too. That's why I got this jacket on. I'm like,
the gun show. The gun show. No, just
Speaking of, you know what? I actually I need a replacement Ford card, so it's in the mail. So I want to go shooting. I haven't shot a gun in a long time, so yeah, it's been a long time. So how about them Bulls? Anyway, I'm just kidding with you. I'm just messing with you guys.
Cuddy on here again.
Dude, I love Cutler. I love him. Dude, yes. I'm telling you, it's a situation where he's misunderstood. Okay? He's misunderstood. All right. You got 6 offensive coordinators in 8 years. 6 offensive coordinators in 8 years. He's like, you know what? They're gonna give me another offensive coordinator next week.
I knew it was a problem. I knew it was a problem when Denver just gave him away.
They didn't give him away.
They didn't give him away. No. No. By no means did they.
They said he had a bad attitude. I knew it was trouble.
It was Josh McDaniel. Josh McDaniel's little spoiled little brat.
Right.
Both of them are Ivy League spoiled little brats. No offense to the Ivy League, but
Jay's from Vanderbilt. But go ahead.
I know. He's from Vanderbilt, but he still acts like he's from the Ivy League. Mentality. He's the smartest guy in the room. Him and Matt Nagy would be perfect.
I'll say
they would fight.
Vernon,
I know.
Vernon has a point, but he also makes Sean's point. he had no time. People were in his face. Of course he's going to be off his back foot. He's about to get laid out. Every time he had to drop back, he was going to get laid out.
Vernon, do you remember the game against the Giants? We got sacked 7 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times in the first half. You understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? 7 times in the first half? Man, come on now. Come on now. I'd be mad too. And this is why you sit there and you say, when people want to sit there and say, oh, he wimped out, he chose to stay out of the NFC Championship game. I'm like, there's no way. First of all, Jay's a competitor. Secondly, after taking all the beating and abuse that you did for so long in the early part of his Chicago Bears tenure, to get to the NFC Championship game, he's not going to sit out if he could. If he can get back in the game, he would have. Just because of all the things that he went through initially when he first got to Chicago. If you can't plant on that front foot, come on, man. If you can't plant, when you transfer weight, come on, man.
Even when he was healthy, he was still doing crazy stuff, man.
Yeah. Because they have, and again, I'm not going to absolve him and say he was a perfect quarterback or say he deserves a gold jacket. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is that he never had time. What I'm saying, he didn't have time early. What I'm saying is you kept changing coordinators. When you keep changing coordinators, people forget it's not just the quarterback that has to learn everything. It's the offensive lineman with different blocking schemes and different terminology. It's the wide receivers with different route trees and different combinations. It's the running back with different pass protection, different holes, different route. It's different. Every single offensive coordinator that he had, all 37 of them in Chicago, okay, said that Jay was, wow. They could not believe how quickly Jay picked up the offense. What happens if Jay picks it up, everybody else has to, and they didn't. I don't remember what year it was. The first play of the season, first snap of the season. Alshon Jeffrey cuts off a slant route and picked off. I don't remember if it was 12.
I remember the famous quote from Charles Woodson. Okay. And this is all I need to know and all I need to hear about Jay. He says, you keep playing, Jay will throw it to you. Okay. That's all I needed to hear. The corners around the league knew. Okay. Sooner or later, he's going to throw us that ball. And when he does, we're going to celebrate. That's Jay Cutler's time with the Bears in a nutshell. I don't ever want to relive that time again, ever. It was almost worse than the Harbaugh era.
Stop it.
When he was throwing shuffle passes. Remember those shuffle passes he kept throwing, those Harbaugh shuffle passes? And then he leaves the Bears and turns to the captain comeback?
And then Indy?
I was like, what in the world is going on here? I still have trauma from the Jay Cutler era. I still have trauma from the Rex Grossman era. Rexuses. I call them Rexuses because it was like the Exorcist when he used to be out there. I still have trauma from the Eddie Curry era, which they call him Eddie Bear. I'm still having trauma from those things, man. So
you still having trauma from your Cubs all those years of ruin?
I had trauma, a lot of trauma with the Cubs, but after 2016, I was okay.
What happened in 2016?
Oh, we clinched, baby. We won that World Series, man. We clinched that National League Championship.
Oh, I see. There's Ivan with that. There you go.
We won that World Series, man.
That bullish.
That's what we did. That's what we did.
Thank God. You finally won the World Series. The last professional.
And it was the biggest party. It was the biggest party in world history. One of the largest parties in world history. The seventh largest gathering in world history.
If you wait 104 years, you better have the seventh largest gathering. 108 years.
We got birthday invitations from the 1920s going out.
Dude, if you wait 108 years, you better have the biggest God blessed party that you can think of.
Of the world, Craig.
You better.
Hey, we sent out invitations to dictators that died off in the 1800s. No, I'll just joking.
You're a fool. You're a fool. Well, listen, let's get right to it, man. The first top of the morning topic. We're talking about the Bulls. The Bulls play tonight. They're down in Indy. They're in Naptown. The Bulls go on to Indianapolis to play the Pacers tonight. your thoughts for really quickly on this game. You know, the Bulls. I'm really liking what I'm seeing. I'm still concerned about the Kobe White situation, point guard, two guard. Billy Donovan says he can be a point guard, and we have to forget, or we have to forget. We keep forgetting. We have to remember. This kid's 20 years old. The kid's 20. By the time the kid's 25 years old, that'll be another 5 years in the league. 5 years, and he'll just be getting into his prime. Literally just be getting into his prime. So I think it's a possibility that he could be a point guard. I just don't know if it's feasible that he could be a good point guard.
Well, I can tell you this, I appreciate the effort by Bulls management and Billy Donovan, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
But what's going to happen to Kobe? They're going to end up getting him traded. My whole thing is that his value is depreciating. The more you play him at point guard, his value will depreciate. Now, he's going to have like above average games at the position, but at the same time, he's going to follow it up with a 7 turnover game or a 6 turnover game. It's not easy trying to learn a point guard position during live action. Okay. If you would, my whole thing was if he was going to be the point guard, they should have set up some summer league scrimmages or something like that where he can work on that. They waited until.
Come on, man.
No, I'm serious. Like,
no, I'm saying they had no preseason this year.
I know, man. But I mean, like, this is not the time to work on that. Like,
you're just gonna. So instead of, so you're suggesting, okay, we'll just not put him on the bench, but put his point guard or the aspirations of the organization to have him play point guard, put that on hold because there's no preseason. I mean, you have to. You know what? And here's the thing: there's going to be There's going to be a rough road because he's trying to do something different. But players can do that, and I'm telling you, if he can facilitate, okay, if he can facilitate with his ability to score, I'm telling you, he's going to remind me of, and I hate to say this guy's name, I hate to say it, but like an Isaiah Thomas, because remember Isaiah will be happy getting 10, 15 assists, 6, 7 rebounds. And if he had to, Isaiah bust your ass, dude. As much as I can't stand him, Isaiah will drop 30 if necessary.
Isaiah was all the world. Okay, my thing is Kobe's not Isaiah Thomas.
I didn't say he was Isaiah Thomas, but
I'm saying it in a way like I don't think he'll ever reach that pinnacle. Like my thing is he should emulate Damian Lillard. Okay. If he was going to emulate anyone, actually, he said he wants to emulate him. You need to take this all season. If you wanted to be Damian Lillard and emulate him, you should have worked with him in the all season. You should have called him instead of calling Chris Paul. You should have called Damian Lillard while he was working on those bogus cable commercials that we keep seeing. I'll just joking.
Hulu.
But you should call Dame Dash. Give him a call and say, "Hey, Dame, man, I really admire your game. I would like to learn from you." And all he could do is say yes or no. I don't know if Kobe did this or not, but if you're going to emulate your game after anyone, you should pattern after Damian Lillard. Damian Lillard can play the point guard position, and also he'll make you pay if you keep switching off of him and keep trying to double him and triple him. He has the ability to split defenses. He's actually shorter than Kobe White. That's another thing. Kobe White is a lot taller. I think he's a few inches taller than Damian Lillard. So Kobe has the height advantage when it comes to that. But Damian, for some reason, like I said, he put in that work, man. And if you're going to emulate your game after anybody, I think he'll be a perfect blueprint, a perfect comp player to go in the off season and work and pattern your game after him. And I'm not talking about during the season, but in the off season. Like Derrick Rose, you remember how Derrick Rose used to go in the off season and add something to his game? Like one year he added a mid range. The next year he added the 3-point shot. The following year he learned how to, get foul calls, draw fouls in the lane because the referees were missing those type of calls because he had the ability to maneuver and improvise in the air. What I'm saying is that these are the type of things you work on in the off season. You work at get better because if you knew that you were going to be the starting point guard coming into the season, you should have been. What I'm saying is that you should have been working on that. I'm not saying he wasn't, but I don't think he worked hard enough on the things that needed to play the starting point guard position for the Chicago Bulls team.
But if you were called Chris Paul, I think that's a good guy who runs the point. Remember, Chris Paul runs the point.
Oh yeah.
So if that's what he did, then definitely, my hat's off to him for reaching out to somebody, because if they want you to run the point, there's nothing wrong with working out with Chris Paul this year and then Damian Lillard next year. There's nothing wrong with it, because now you can combine both of those. I think the most important thing that they wanted from him, and let's remember, Joe, he's still 20 years old, man. He can't even buy a drink legally in this house.
Bulls fans are impatient, man. We're tired of losing, bro. Like, I know you are, and I am, and Ivan, and Jason, and Dub Six, and Vernon. We know that AK and them are pointing the team in the right direction, but I think that they're forcing this thing to happen. Like, I think that they're going to give it a try over the next probably 20 games. If it's not working, they're going to go in a different direction. I don't know if it's going to be via trade. Maybe we can go after Alonzo Ball. Maybe we can make a trade for what's his name, Vucic from Orlando. Mm-hmm. Right now, I'll trade Otto Porter Jr., Wendell Carter Jr., get all these juniors off our team. Junior? No, Junior? No, just one. Get all these juniors off our team. I'll give them a 2021 second-round pick or something like that. And go after Vucic, who's averaging 24 points, 11 rebounds, and probably like 3 assists. I'll bring him in as the big man, Wendell Carter Jr. I mean, this guy gets hurt after paper cuts, We can't have that, okay? You're messing around in the office. You poke your eye out, kid. You're throwing paper balls, spitballs in the office, and you get hurt. We can't have that, okay? What I'm saying is that Kobe, at the end of the day, is I think he's responsible for half the losses that take place this season because of his inability to play the point guard position, period.
So you're putting it on Kobe?
I put it on him not because it's his fault, but because the organization is forcing the matter, and they're trying to make him into something that he's not. He's an off guard that likes to score. If we put Alonzo Ball in this lineup, then we can run the Billy Donovan offense, which is a 3-guard offense, and then everybody can work, just like they did last year in Oklahoma City. They had, who was that? Chris Paul. Then they had Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. And then there was another guard that was in there. I think it was Dennis Schroeder. He was in that offense too. So they had a 3-guard offense. So if we need to go there, then hey, let's do that. Let's add another guard in there. Start Sanaraski if you have to. But I think this experiment is over. It's really frustrating to watch. And if you look at the numbers, how bad it is when Zach LaVine and Kobe are starting together, it's turnover haven. Okay. And I understand where you're coming from, Shawn. He's only 20, but hey, at the end of the day, like I said, potential don't pay the bills. This is a produce or a result-oriented business, and you have to produce, man. Like you can't get into the starting lineup and turn the ball over like that. Not even in high school, where what job you can get in there and mess up everything and get rewarded for it. You just can't do that.
Well, listen, we got to take a quick break. On the other side of the break, we have more top of the morning topics. So don't go anywhere, folks. Keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago.
Hey, this is Gary Payton, and we listen to Shawn and Maya in the morning. Do that.
Well, way to just cut it, buddy. Thanks, dude.
I'm sorry. I was trying to prepare the
What you eating, Shawn? What you
prepare
eating?
the actual commercial, but I forgot that we come back in.
So I have apple slices. I cut up some apples in the
Oh,
morning.
that looks good, man.
And then I have peanut butter. I have apples and peanut butter.
Oh, that's a throwback. That's a throwback right
for
there.
breakfast. So I have apples and peanut butter. Then I have my cashews.
Ooh.
So I nice little healthy breakfast.
Man,
you
like salmon?
Oh, I love salmon.
Man, you got to try Mickey Grill's salmon burger in Hyde Park, man.
Mickey Grill salmon burger, huh?
Mickey Grimm's salmon burger.
My
boy Rico and them. They got a restaurant around the way in Hyde Park.
Okay.
It's called Mickey Grills, but it's the Mickey Grill salmon burger. Order it to go.
Okay.
I
drink some green tea and you see my little Yeti.
Oh
I got some green tea with some honey and lemon.
Ooh, okay.
I gotta go ahead and talk to Rico on them because I love salmon. And if you're talking about a salmon sandwich,
yep.
I gotta check it out. Like that's salmon. Salmon I don't play with. If you got some fish or any type of seafood, dude, it's gone. You put it in
that's the Puerto Rican in them. Hey, I ain't mad at you.
Get that pretzel bun on there.
Hey, hey, Mexicans love seafood too. They call it mariscos.
Oh
and man, yeah, they'll get some shrimp. They'll get some crab meat, some lobster, man. There's a couple of good places here in and around the city that have some good mariscos. And we'll see if we can get some of those as a sponsor us. We'll talk about it. But yeah, it's so there's this one place called La Palapa. La Palapa means like a little hut in Spanish. And it's on the corner. I guess technically it's what street is that? It's like 34th Street.
Okay.
And Damon, it's literally like half a block off of Archers, right behind Huck Finn. You can't miss it if you're on Damon. If you get off I-55 and you go south,
right.
If you're coming into the city and you get off on I-55, you go left or go right. If you're coming out of the city, get off on I-55 at Damon, you turn left. And I'm telling you, that's good stuff, dude. And there's other places in the city as well. Some would argue some places are better. I like La Palapa personally.
Oh, just to add to y'all little cooking menu, I made a huge pizza this week, man. It was huge. Old school lunch lady pizza, man. I had
really
on there, pepperoni.
Was it square?
Pillsbury dough crust. It was like, how you say
it? You are a fool. Hey, listen to this. This is a foolish move. I don't want to say foolish move. Too acting foolish. The Cubs. Welcome back. Jake Arrieta signed a 1-year, $6 million deal with the Cubs. And wait a minute. Didn't you let him go and replace him with Yu Darvish? And then you let Yu Darvish go and replace him with Jake Arrieta. Kind of world is this? Kind of nonsense is this?
Jake from State Farm is here. Oh no,
dude. But I'll tell you what, you need help in that rotation. You got the professor. You got who's the kid? Alec Mills, the kid who threw no hitter.
Zach Davies.
Oh yeah, I forgot about him.
Zach is the real deal. He's another little mini version of the professor. So you can throw some change-ups with the best of them. I watch this stuff; it's very deceptive. So we got a lot of soft toss guys. We need some hard throwers in there, and this is why I think Marquez is going to get called up this season. I think they're going to call up Marquez this season and bring him into that line. That boy throwing 101, 102 miles per hour. So we'll bring him up. Jake from State Farm, like my whole thing with Jake the Snake or Jake from State Farm, he had to leave when he left. We missed him. He went to Philly. He wasn't the same since he left the Cubs. So we got the best out of him. So now he's coming back. He's not throwing plus 90 fastballs. it's about learning how to get guys out. I think the Cubs team is going to pretty much depend a lot on their infield defense. So, you're going to see a lot of ground ball outs and a lot of long balls too.
That's funny. That's funny. But you know what? I think it's kind of interesting that you bring him back because, he's a guy who, when he was at the top of his game, was literally damn near untouchable.
20 straight from 2015 to 2016.
Second half of 2015 to the first half of 2016. This dude was literally unfreaking hittable, and it was unfair. It looked unfair to hitters. I mean, we're talking professional 300 plus hitters, home run hitters that he was just making look like high A ball players. This guy was on a roll for the second half of 15, first half of 16. And he was on a roll like I don't recall us ever seeing anyway. And I've seen tons of pictures back from Clemens and the big unit. And I don't recall seeing a pitcher on a roll like that for one calendar year from, like I said, the end of 15, the first half of 16. It was literally just amazing. And my disdain for the Cubs and their fan base. It was tough. It was tough watching it, but I had to watch it because I love baseball. See, there you go with that nonsense. But I had to watch it because I love good baseball. And it was unfortunate in my case, and for Sox fans, that phenomenal, unheard of baseball was being pitched every 5 days up on the north side. And he was one of the guys that you had to stop. Remember when Junior was up to bat? Right. And you had to stop what you're doing because you never knew what Junior was going to do. Back in '97, when Sammy and Mark McGwire were up, you stopped what you were doing. Right. That's what you did with Jake Arrieta. When Jake Arrieta pitched, you usually, okay, I'm blocking out a couple hours, okay, because I want to see this dude do something special.
And he was throwing no hitters, bro. Like it was nobody's business. And he shut the Dodgers out. Hit the Dodgers in Dodger Stadium. That's an accomplishment.
And the Reds.
Right.
I remember that Reds one. I was actually it was during a pool league. And I'm sitting there, I'm trying to pay attention to Jake and pay attention to the match at the same time. But I won the match, but then I lost the next one because I was just too focused on the game. But for Jake, for the value that he has right now, because we know he's not the same pitcher, the value that he's going to bring to the Cubs in the back of that rotation, I'm good with. I'm cool with it. I'm cool with it. A one-year deal. You take off, like even if he is average, right? Let's say he doesn't like get us a ticket. I'm not talking about like just above and beyond average. I'm talking about maybe he just does a little bit better than we thought he would. I'm cool with, but let's say he's about average, about right there. I'll be happy with that. I would feel like the Cubs would be finding success. If Jake has some success in that back end, I think the Cubs might be a pretty decent team. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like if he's a guy that could find some success on that back end with the team, backing him up, that might be a good thing.
And plus, I think he's going to add like 2 or 3 wins to our team. At least 2 or 3. At least 2. I'm just expecting 2 or 3 wins from him at least. He's not gonna. I think he's gonna have a lot of losses, but I think that he's gonna add 2 or 3 wins. We'll probably go to a 6 or 7 man rotation. So if something happened to one of the starters, he'll be an emergency starter. We'll put him in a situation where we'll switch it up a little bit for those that got a great scouting report on Kyle Hendricks or Zach Davies. Be like, okay, let's mix it up a little bit. We're gonna throw Jake at you today. You thought you was gonna get Zach Davies. Now you're about to get a hard tosser who can throw at least 90, mid 90s and below, with his pitches.
I think you needed him, and I think he brings a lot of moxie. I think he brings a lot of intangibles. There you go, intangibles to this team. He's part of that championship team, another part of that core, and you got to get guys playing at a different level. You have a huge part of your core that's still there, a huge part of your core that still has a ring.
Yeah.
So the thing that you need from me, you need the pitching, and when you get a guy, you bring him back and say, hey, listen, we need to do this, and he's talking to that pitching staff. That goes a lot further. That goes a lot further than a coach or manager saying it, even though their manager was part of that 2016 team. A player saying that can carry a lot more weight than a manager.
Oh yeah, most definitely. And I tell people, people talk about John Lester and they talk about, Chris Bryant and all these things, but one of the most, I think, underrated players that was on our team, but I think he was one of the launching paths for making this team a World Series contender was Jake Arrieta. Without that performance, I don't even think the Lester signings would have mattered, because if you didn't have 2 or 3 aces in that rotation the way we did, and also most people don't mention Jake Arrieta when we talk about the following year, because did he make it the following year, 2017 or 2018? What year did he leave to go to Philly?
After 17.
After 17. So what I'm saying is that, we lost a lot of our strong rotation pieces, even though he wasn't the same guy, but we start slowly, dismantling the team back then, so, Jake was a huge part in us winning the World Series. And I think this one is like a final hurrah with the Cubs, after this 1-year deal.
I hope it works. I know a lot of Cub fans are happy. And I just hope that they don't expect him to be a number 1, number 2, because it's not going to happen. And what Ivan said, I think is on point. If he does work in the back end of that bullpen, of that rotation, now you got almost a guaranteed win every 4th or every 5th day from the back end. Because let's be honest, he's going to be facing some youngsters. If he's in the 4th or 5th slot in that rotation, he's going to be facing guys who he's much more talented than, much more accomplished than, and probably just overall in all just better than. And if he can stay consistent in the 4 or 5 spot, man, he might have another 20-win season.
And he could probably retire with the Cubs and become a coach, working in the farm system with our pitchers, because I think he had some of the nastiest pitches out there. I mean, I think it was a slider, curveball, some type of slurve where he was nailing guys, just like they couldn't even pick the pitch up. So, yeah, it's a nice signing, but like you said, he's not the same Jake from 2015 to 2016. No,
definitely not. Next top of the morning topic, the Blackhawks. They're in Motown. Blackhawks are in Motown today, taking out the Detroit Red Wings. Detroit sucks.
Yes, they do.
Taking out the Detroit Red Wings tonight, 6:30 local time. You can catch that game on NBC Sports Chicago Plus. The Bulls are on NBC Sports Chicago. Check NBC Sports Plus. What they just did coming back from that horrible loss on Friday, where they gave up 4 goals in the 3rd period, to come back the next day on Saturday and hold off and win 3-2, shows me a lot about this young team. And this is one of the reasons why I'm excited. We talked about it earlier, right before the top of the morning segment, when Ivan broached that subject and talked about his love for the Bulls, the Hawks. But this young team is really, really playing above their means. Yes. They're playing a lot more mature than their age suggests. And if that's Colleton, we don't know who it is, but I would have to assume that that's Colleton. And if that is Colleton, along with some of the veterans, of course, but if that is Colleton, man, my hat's off to him. I gave him respect a few months ago. And he's earned my respect, especially after winning that first round of the playoffs last year.
Yeah.
He's got my respect.
Yes.
He's definitely got my respect. And I am anxious to see what he can do with a full offseason. He hasn't had a full offseason. He hasn't had a full training camp. There's a lot he hasn't been able to accomplish just for whatever reason. And, I would love for him to see have a full training camp, have a full preseason, and then a full regular season. But from what I see, I'm starting to like Jeremy Colleton a lot.
Oh, yes. Can I call him JC? Jeremy Colleton, he –
Bible bumpers might be thinking that's Jesus Christ. I don't know.
Oh, no, never. But he's done an excellent job with the Blackhawks. He actually earned my respect with that first round win over Edmonton this past off season. And in addition to that, he has this team I wouldn't say overachieving, but playing both ends of the ice rink, which is what more can you ask for from a Chicago team? And I think that the Bulls should be where the Blackhawks are at now. The Blackhawks are making all the right moves right now. They're pushing all the right buttons, and they're getting the best out of their roster. And that's all we asked for in Chicago. And I think it's kind of frustrating to see that actually being implemented within the same building, but it's coming through our hockey team. You said, I mean, the Bulls should take notes and say, okay, this has nothing to do with your age. It's all about if you won or you don't, And I think that these young guys out of the Blackhawks, they won anywhere from the goalie Lackinen to Alex the Cat DeBrincat, who hit a game-winning goal on Saturday, which I wrote about.
Nice.
Then you got a lot of young guys, that's also making a name for themselves. So this is definitely a new era of Blackhawks hockey, an era that I love right now because I thought they were going to suck for years to come. But guess what? They're Chicago strong right now.
Yeah, he is. They are. And they might surprise a few people next season, 21-22 season. They might surprise some people. So we'll see. We'll see how it plays out.
Add some veterans, some free agents to this young core, man. We'll be back competing for a Stanley Cup before you know it.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you on that one. I agree with you on that one. Keep it real. The next top of the morning topic. This one's an interesting one. Chris Doyle. He was the disgraced strength and conditioning coach from the University of Iowa. He was there for 22 years. Was dismissed from the Iowa program for racist comments and fostering a racist culture at the University of Iowa. We had one of my former players who actually went to the University of Iowa and explained to us some of the things that he said and did in the weight room. So he's been out. He gets hired by the Jacksonville Jaguars, and Urban Meyer says, hey, and he comes out. He's like, oh, I totally vetted this guy. He's a great guy, blah, 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 blah. And the next day he resigns, obviously because of public backlash. And it goes to show to Urban Meyer that this isn't college anymore. This ain't college where you can sweep things under the rug. You're dealing with professional players, and their worlds are different. It's just different.
Right.
And
they must have heard you singing the Dukes of Hazzard song in the last show.
Just the good old boys. Yeah. But you know what? I'm okay with it. I really am. I really am. If this is the kind of atmosphere that you fostered there in Iowa, you can't be saying these things to professional athletes, who make a hell of a lot more than you. And you believe me, he made a lot at Iowa. He was the highest paid strength and conditioning coach in the country. It was $800,000 he was making a year as a strength and conditioning coach. That's it.
Wow. He was getting paid the max, but he hurt his own reputation.
Yep.
Because he wanted to be a overt racist. You can't do that, I don't even applaud a covert racist. Actually, they worse than overts because you don't even know if they like you or not.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it caught up with him. Like you were calling him out this past week. It's like, how's he getting a good old boy network job? And this guy's known for dropping the N-word in the weight room. Okay, so yep. And I think you have a personal connection with him. Like you said, you knew him from this Holy Cross background. Is that correct?
Yeah. So when my senior year, after my junior year, our head coach left. We went 11-0. We finished up number 3 in the country. This is before we were allowed to go to the 1AA playoffs. Otherwise, we would have won a national championship or 2. But I digress. Our head coach left after my junior year and took the job at Maryland. He came on. He was part of the new staff that came over with Peter Voss, a Holy Cross grad, but he had come from Peter Voss had come from Notre Dame. They're just very arrogant and conceited, full of themselves. It just bugged me, and I never got along. I shouldn't say never got along. I didn't have any problems with him, but I really wasn't trying to be cool with him either.
Right.
And plus that was early in his career. I'm sure he wasn't. he didn't display that with us. Let's put it
Right.
that way. He didn't display that with us, and then probably it could be because it was early in his career, and he just wanted to grow and get some weight behind it because he wasn't like that at all with us.
Right.
We didn't have very many black guys on the team, but we had more than enough.
Right.
We had enough to the point, especially my senior year, where you couldn't say, "Oh, it's a white team with some black guys." Like, "Oh, it was just that's a team."
Right.
We were mixed pretty well. So,
right.
Yeah.
Nobody was the token black guy on Holy Cross.
No, definitely not.
Black guys. Okay.
Definitely
Well,
not.
that's just, like I said, your past will catch up with you if you continue to repeat it. And I think that was his issue. He has a track record of being a racist wherever he went to, and he's unapologetic about it. Like he should at least made a statement. Letting him know that he's moved on, he's apologized. But I don't know if he did that before even taking a job. It was kind of like a low key hire, prominent individual.
Yeah, it was definitely low key because of his baggage, and once it became public. I know. Urban Meyer went to defend him. He was going to be the director of sports performance, is what he was going to be, and Urban Meyer was like, "Yeah, we're getting too much heat."
Yeah, LeBron James would have loved him.
We're getting too much heat.
Yeah, well, like I said, and I said this on Shawn and Meyer last week, and I said it on the Humidor Sports Podcast with the Smoke Fellas. Urban Meyer, wherever he goes, there's a track record. There's a track record. And Shawn got into it with the stuff in Florida. Urban Meyer, and although he's given opportunity to people who probably didn't deserve it. We'll just say we'll keep it as that. But he's given him that opportunity. But Urban Meyer, at all costs, will win. Will try to win. Chris Doyle, for all his BS and all his wrong, his skill as a strength and conditioning coach was probably unmatched. Cutting it really bare bones, unmatched. Taking away who he is as a piece of shit, POS person, is probably unmatched. And Urban Meyer wants that. That's what Urban Meyer was willing to look past all of that to get to that from Chris Doyle. To me, that doesn't sit right. Urban Meyer will do anything to get the win.
Yeah, that sounds right. It sounds right. That sounds about right. Like I said, that's almost like bringing Victor Conte into the Cubs locker room. What are you doing here, bro? We're not hiring you, bro. We're not hiring you.
No, that's crazy. And you know what? I didn't like that staff. So anything I say first of all, it's going to be jaded because he was on that staff. But I never liked him. And it's not that he did something to me. I just, our personalities just didn't vibe. They didn't vibe when he was at Holy Cross. And, I guess I just couldn't do that. I do the workouts that were prescribed and everything. But like the other guy, we had the strength and conditioning coach before that was Coach Unger, who was a running back coach as well. Man, you talk about, and we're friends on Facebook to this day. I could sit and talk with him. I can, whatever. And I would never go to any of that new staff. Doyle was one of them. Would never go. No desire to go to talk to that new staff because they just came in with the wrong attitude, I believe.
Yeah.
So
I understand. Like I said, whenever it comes to a new coach or he's going to always bring in his own culture, his own philosophy.
Yep.
And that don't necessarily mean it's going to equate to wins. But like you said, Shawn, he's looking at the bottom line. Do you produce or you don't produce, but in this case, it's about character. And just so happened, Chris Doyle was exposed for his character on this one.
Man, he really was. And I don't know if anyone told him, you're working with a lot of black kids. How you can say that? It just boggles my mind. It just boggles my mind. Like a lot of the kids you work with are black. So to make that type of statement, and the only reason I think he would make that kind of statement, and this is my personal opinion, is that he didn't care. And the boss had his back. he was trying to be one of the guys,
Right.
okay, or he's just flat out overt racist and didn't care.
Right. And I see a lot of white guys try to slowly use the N word, like, what's up, my nigga? You know, they'll come up and say some stuff like that. And you be like, you know, you'll side eye him, and then he say it again to see if you're used to it. And I'm just like, no, bro. No. Yeah, bro, let's not do that.
Hey, Joseph, we got to take a break, but thanks, Papa. I appreciate it.
All right.
I love when you come on every show. And you're a little subdued today, which is a little shocking. but I thought you might just still recovering from your party.
Man, I was DJing. I had to DJ. I baked pizza. I had the house set up, man, for everybody, man. We had the balloons. My wife had the games going. Wrote my 3 stories: Blackhawks, Bulls, and the last story was fighting the Illini. So. Yeah, so busy weekend, man. My son enjoyed every moment, birthday party and Valentine's Day. So I'm just like,
good.
Yeah.
Good.
So you know why Joseph was subdued, right? He may speak the name that shouldn't be named. The name
don't trigger me, Ivan. Don't trigger me. He got blown out last night.
Oh, you didn't see that?
After he found out what it's like to play like without a superstar for 2 quarters.
Dude, he blew out his yeah. I'm not. No, you know
And
what?
I got my Tom Brady thing. I know you got to go, but check this out, Shawn, and look it up when you get a chance.
Okay.
Tom Brady and Giselle, what's her name?
Giselle Bundchen, his wife.
And this is not a conspiracy, man. This lady does witchcraft, bro. Check it out. Look it up for yourself. Her and Tom.
I wouldn't doubt it. She's Brazilian.
You know, and she was proud of it. They got on video bragging about it, how she putting hexes on other teams, you know. So we need to look into that, man. We got to do a SportsZone Chicago special report on that or something.
Okay.
I'm just joking.
Hey, listen, we'll see you on Wednesday, Papa. You have a good one.
All right, God bless. Peace out.
All right, guys. That was Joseph Phillips from the Chicago Crusader. Listen, we're going to take a quick break, and on the other side of the break, we're going to be back with we're going to talk a little. We got baseball, basketball, football, hockey, soccer, track, both. No, we got basketball. Shawn Devaney from Heavy.com who covers the Bears. Don't go anywhere, folks. Keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya on SportsZone Chicago. Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago. On this House Music Monday edition, you see I'm wearing my House Music Chicago White Sox shirt, my house head shirt. Man, woo-wee, Ivan. Pitchers and catches report next week, baby.
Let's go.
They report next week.
I'm ready.
I love it.
I'm sitting here and I'm like, man, like with all the moves the Cubs are making, the small little moves, I'm just sitting like, man, how are they going to do this? Like, how are you planning on competing this year? Because my opinion, I feel like this team is basically meant to compete to sell. Like I feel like at the All-Star break, if the Cardinals are putting a good lead, a solid lead, I don't know. I'm not quite sure if the Cubs are going to go ahead and necessarily trade to win, as opposed to going ahead and cutting some money and getting youth in return. I feel like they might go that route. I don't know. They do have the core to compete, but if I'll say this: if they have to go ahead and risk more to win, I don't think the Cubs are going to do that. I think the Cubs will end up trading people off.
I think the Cubs suck anyway, so I don't care. I'm kidding. I just did that to rile you up. Hey, let's bring out my guy. He's going to sit with me for the next hour. He is my man. He's from That Davis Show, and you can find him on Twitter at That's Davis. Man, let's bring him out. Ken Davis. Ken, what's up, Papa? How are you? How's the weekend?
What's going on, man? How are you doing? The weekend was cool. It was uneventful.
Yeah, look, I got my House Music Monday, baby. I got my house head shirt. Yeah,
I saw when I saw the headphones on the sock swinger. I was like, okay, that's something new right there.
Yeah,
I like that one. That's a sweet one right there. Your boy made that up.
Yep, yes, he did.
Okay.
Yes. And he made some for the Cubs too, because he's about the Ben Franklin team, and I ain't mad at you, Papa. I ain't mad at you.
Where can we get those?
You have to go to Chicago Gear on Facebook. Go to Chicago Gear. It's a private page, Chicago Gear. Yeah, and these will be sold. Man, it's baseball season, so
it's time.
Yep, yeah, it is. Well, listen, I know it's baseball season. But we're gonna switch and talk a little NBA action, a little Bulls action with our next guest. It's actually his first time here on SportsZone Chicago on Shawn and Maya show, so I'm pretty pumped up. He's the NBA writer for Heavy.com, Forbes Sports, and an NBA alumni. He's got a book out called Greed and Glory in Fun City. And he loves some wings, so he's gonna have to, man. He's gonna have to come back.
What type of wings?
We're gonna find out what type of. Is he boneless? Is he fat? Is he flat?
It better not be boneless.
Okay,
is he a lemon pepper person?
Fat. If he got flats or he got drummies, which one? We're gonna find out. He's out in Massachusetts, not too far from my old stomping grounds. When I went to Holy Cross in Worcester, yes, all the Woo Rats out in Worcester. I loved it. It's wicked pisser. Guys, it's welcome to Shawn and Maya. You find him on Twitter at Shawn Devaney. It's welcome to Shawn and Maya for the first time, Shawn Devaney. Shawn, what's up, buddy? How are you?
I'm doing well, guys. How are you?
Good. Do I detect the wicked pisser accent or what over there?
Oh yeah, I grew up in Boston. I actually lived in Chicago for 15 years and just came back to Boston about 10 years ago. So
okay,
I've got a foot in both worlds there.
Okay, yeah. I'm from Mount St. James, baby, over in Worcester, right off of the Mass Pike in 290.
290, that's right. 290 North.
No, it's wicked. The top of the hill, and you know what? They were so mad when Tom Terrific won the freaking Super Bowl the other day. Great stuff. Well, let's get to it, man. We're talking a little Bulls basketball. Talk to me, man. I am liking this Bulls team. All right, I'm really liking this team. They're young. They're not winning as many games as we would like, as fans would like, but it's a new system. It's a new coach. It's a new culture. It's a new front office. I think they're doing a lot of right things here, a lot of things like an actual professional basketball organization should do. Give me your thoughts on these young Bulls.
Yeah, I think the big thing for them is going to be having to find that identity. And I think that's where they are right now. Right now they've got sort of a collection of pieces. They've got a collection of these young guys. I'm not quite seeing how they're going to fit together. They need those glue players. Williams shows some promise. I think he can be that kind of guy, dirty work grinder kind of guy. I think they definitely need that. If they're going to continue though with Kobe White, great scorer, not much of a defender. Zach, great scorer, not much of a defender. Lowry, we'll see what happens with him. great scorer, terrible defender. You need some of these other guys, right? I mean, you're going to need somebody's got to guard somebody. And so, I think they have right now, I do think they have these promising guys kind of in their own silos, but I want to see how it all kind of comes together and becomes the kind of team that Billy Donovan wants.
Shawn, let me ask you this. You mentioned, for instance, that they look like a whole bunch of parts. Which side of the ball seems like it's coming along further? You just said that basically majority of their starters are good defenders, but do you see Billy's philosophy on the defensive side more being implemented on the offensive side?
Yeah, I think defensively they've actually made some strides. I mean, if you look at where they were even a month ago, I mean, they were down in the bottom. They were 27th, 28th in defensive efficiency. That's come up quite a bit. Even with Wendell Carter out, they've been able to improve defensively, and a lot of that is system. You can bring in a system guy, and as the guys starts to click with the guys, it's going to improve. And of course, they didn't have a whole lot of practically no training camp, no practice time. They've had the COVID issues, so this is a team that is really just starting to come together and learn all these things. So that's going to be important is improving within the system. But I do think the system can take you from being a really bad defense at 25th to being average, right? To being about 15. You're going to need really good defensive players if you want to get, a little bit higher than that. And they do. That's no question between Arturas and Billy Donovan. Defense is a big thing. And right now, I don't think they have the horses to play the kind of defense they want to do. The guys who can are the guys who Garrett Temple and Thad Young, guys like that. They're not going to be around in a couple of years. They might not even be around after this year, right? So they need some of those younger guys, I think, to come in and be sort of those defensive anchors that they just don't have right now.
Real quick, on a side note, you mentioned COVID as far as some of the issues that the Bulls have had so far. How do you feel about the NBA trying to go ahead with the All-Star game, risking all these players congregating together, let alone being in Atlanta and affecting their whole entire league with the Rona?
I mean, far be it from me to disagree with LeBron. Who knows better about what they should be doing? Because look, if they're doing this for the money, then the players would say, okay, because the way that it works with the NBA is that everything that comes in, all the income that comes in, is split 50-50 owners and players. So that's why the players, when they said let's start the season on the 22nd, they explained the financial reasons why. Players said, that's not much time off, but we're going to do it because, that's how we make our money. All-Star thing, there's not enough money there to warrant them doing this. And it's just not, it's not going to, and that's why you see players saying, no, this is not a good idea because, the finances aren't there. The reward is not there. So it's putting players at risk. It's putting players at risk for injury, for COVID. As LeBron pointed out, they had 71 days off. If you were the Lakers or the Heat, you had 71 days off, and you kind of were looking at that March break as, okay, that's where I can recharge and try to make the rest of the season normal. And the NBA is kind of taking that away.
Guys, we're joined by Shawn Devaney from Heavy.com, talking a little NBA and some Bulls action right here on Shawn and Maya on SportsZone Chicago. Lauri's one of my favorite players. Is it safe to call him injury prone? Because this guy just can't seem to be healthy. This guy, when he wants to play and when he puts it together, we've seen flashes of literally brilliance from this guy. He'll drop 30. He'll hit from the three. He'll back a guy in. He'll step back. He'll fade away. He'll hit a jumper. He'll put it on the floor. This guy could do everything except stay healthy. Yeah,
and games played is an underrated stat in my book. Games play and look, that's not to say he's soft or anything. It just some guys get hurt more than other guys. It's not a matter of you're not tough enough. You whatever. It's not necessarily a matter of that. Some guys are just more prone to it, and he certainly seems like somebody who's more prone to it. Going back to December, remember they had the decision to make on whether they're going to give him an extension or not.
Yep.
And his tendency to get hurt was one of the big reasons they did not want to come off the number that they had to go up to where he was, and they were pretty significantly far apart because he wants to get paid on what his potential is. They want him on what he's actually done. So it's tough because you're right. When he does play, when he's at his best, he's 30 points. He's a stretch four. Very, very hard to guard. He become a much better passer. All the little things that you'd like to see him improve. He's done all that. It's just he can't stay healthy. So at the end of the year, they're going to have a big decision to make on him in restricted free agency. Do you decide to pay him? Is somebody else going to pay him? Do you match it if they do? They've got a big decision coming up on Lowry, and he's making it difficult on them by not being healthy.
One of the guys that there's a little lab experiment going on, as we see every night, and that's Kobe White in the point guard position. Your thoughts? Billy the Kid, Billy Donovan said the other day he still thinks this guy can be a point guard. We do have to remember the guy's only 20 years old, but we also have to remember the guy has a scoring mentality. Do you think this is something that's viable, that this kid can actually be a point guard, and facilitate despite his current mindset?
I think they could do it if they had sort of a combo guard next to him. I think you could do it if you had a really good secondary ball handler next to him. Who could take a guy like Chris Middleton in Milwaukee, for instance. If you had a guy like that who A, can make up for some of the defensive deficiencies, and B, if Kobe's getting 5-6 assists, then you've got somebody next to him who's getting 3-4. CJ McCollum, for instance, in Portland. I don't think they're going to get somebody on that level, but that's the kind of dynamic you want. And that's I think he could be a viable point guard in that scenario. But if you're going to ask him to be the guy, if you're going to ask him to be the guy to run the offense, every time down the floor, like you said, he's young. There's a possibility that but just when you watch him, you see his game. He's that sixth man kind of like. I think that's the perfect role for him. Sixth man. You guys know Vinnie Johnson. The
microwave,
microwave kind of guy. That's what he could be, like Lou Williams. Somebody like that. I think that's the ideal role for them. I don't blame him. Look, at his age, I don't blame him for give him some run at point guard. Let's see what he can do. Let's see if he can do it. I don't know that I've seen enough progress. And again, it's very early, obviously, but it still looks like it's a square peg in a round hole,
Shawn, let me ask you this. I want to get back to Lowry, and you mentioned his pending free agency being a restricted free agent. I want to know what you would do, one, being in Boston. One of the rumors that people here floated is perhaps since Danny Ainge has said you guys need basically a stretch forward with some shooting, what do you have to offer? And what would you do if you were the Bulls front office? Would you wait until the end of the season, or would you try to recoup something from Lowry and move him, knowing that you don't want to pay him for his potential, you want to pay him for his floor?
Yeah, Danny Ainge said that, and then he spoke the following week. He was talking. He said, "Well, yeah, I said that, but we're looking for a bunch of things." He kind of clarified that a little bit. So I think if they could get marketing, that'd be great. For that team, they'd be an ideal fit. It's exactly what they need. But the problem that the Celtics have is, like you say, what do you guys get back? And the thing is that all those picks that the Celtics had for years, those are all gone. They don't have those anymore. So they just have their regular picks. They could trade first round picks, but they're all going to be fairly low in the first round. It's not going to be that attractive a package. A lot of the young players that the Celtics did get with those picks haven't, Romeo Langford has not panned out yet. Carson Edwards, you go right down the list. Grant Williams is okay, but they haven't gotten great players with the picks that they've had. So there's not a whole lot that the Celtics could bring to the Bulls. As far as making a trade, certainly look, if you're the Bulls and you're not sure what you're going to do with marketing, if somebody comes to you with an offer, you got to listen, right? But I think that they'll hang on to him. I think they're going to hang on to him. And don't forget, he's a restricted free agent, which means they can match any offer.
Yep.
And if they decide not to match, what they can do, and what will probably happen if this is the case, is they can work out a sign and trade where they do get something back, whether it's a draft pick, whether it's another player, or a trade exception. You've heard so much about trade exceptions this last year. That the Bulls could get a pretty significant one there. So there's other options there. I wouldn't be surprised if they pass on trading Lowry Markkanen and instead wait to see what happens in his restricted free agency.
Real quick, when you look at the future of this team, if you look at the fact that Kobe White, and it's been said around here, would probably be better as a sixth man. Patrick Williams may be your future, but as you said, he may just be a grinder guy. No one's looking at him as being an alpha or number one. And you have Zach. Best case scenario for this team, is it to get into the playoffs? So, for instance, Patrick Williams and Kobe White get some experience, and you see how young both of them are. Or is it really to get as much value as possible in the draft and build this team through the draft? Because usually here in Chicago, we don't attract free agents.
Well, I think the Bulls could attract free agents if they had the right situation. That they said that here in Boston for years and years, that they could not attract free agents. Then they started winning, and all of a sudden, they're bringing in free agents. So, a lot of that depends on the scenario. I think plenty of players would like to play in Chicago. So, I think that you still do have to build in the draft. I still think that you do need to find those guys. I think this is going to be a great draft, and you're going to have a lot of depth in this draft. If you can collect another draft pick along the way, make a trade. If it costs you Thad Young, then you got to do it. Get as many picks as you can and build that way. I know that Bulls fans are probably tired of rebuilding through the draft. It's not Paxson and Foreman making the picks anymore. At least you've got that going. Although I kind of wish the Bulls front office had taken Halliburton in last year's. I think we're talking about that secondary point guard who could play with Kobe. He'd be perfect for that role. But we'll see what Patrick Williams does. I just think you've got to go with the draft at this point. Make as many moves as you can to collect those picks and those assets because that's where you're going to have to turn things around. Obviously, look, they've got good players. They've got some guys who you can start with, but I think those other guys are guys that are going to have to get in the draft.
Who do you? I'm trying to figure out how to phrase it. Who would you package to get someone? Could you think of bringing a point guard in? Is like Alonzo Ball? I know that was some of the rumors here. Who would you package to get a point guard, a true point guard in here? Because that would take a lot of pressure off of Zach LaVine. He can literally just go be the two guard and run around and have people chase him all day, like Reggie Miller and Rip Hamilton back in the day. Who would you think that the Bulls might be willing to package to get a good point guard to run this offense?
Yeah, it's going to depend on. You're going to have to find a team that's sort of desperate, I think. And I think with Lonzo, I think Lonzo would be somebody who is worth a flyer. Certainly if you don't have to give up too much, then I think Lonzo would be somebody that's definitely worth taking a look at. You really don't want to give up a first round pick. Like I say, I would rather keep my draft picks than bring in Lonzo. If you can get away with a package of second round picks and somebody else, whether it's Chandler Hutchinson, whoever it is, then that's what you do. Daniel Gafford, somebody like that. But I don't think you want to give up picks. And I certainly, if you're going to give up somebody like a Markkanen, then you better be getting back a high quality point guard in return. So right now there's when you look at the guys that they have, I think Temple will have some value. I think Thad Young has significant value. But if you're going to get a guy like Ball, you're going to have to give up young assets. If you want to bring in a different kind of point guard, it's probably going to be a veteran, and I just don't know that the Bulls really want to do that.
Shawn, look, you mentioned this upcoming draft, and especially looking at the draft that just passed and the value that's in this upcoming draft. Who are the guys that are really standing out as far as Suggs at Gonzaga, Cunningham? You got Green in the G League. And we haven't really seen him yet. What guys are the ones that you like? If a team, particularly the Bulls, could get their hands on this player, it can kind of change their fortunes.
Yeah, there's like I said, it's a pretty deep draft this year. I really like Jalen Green. I saw him play in high school. They have a tournament here in Springfield where I live, and he was fantastic. I think that he'd be a great pickup. One of another guy from Florida State, Scotty Barnes, has been impressive. Of course, look, if you wind up at the top of the draft, and you can get Suggs, you can get Kuminga, Jonathan Kuminga who's also in the G League. Cade Cunningham is another guy. Evan Mobley from USC is an interesting. He's a center. And we talk about Markkanen not being able to stay healthy. I think you have the same concern with Wendell Carter Jr. I don't think the Bulls are so stacked at any position that you'd say, we have to focus on this position or that position. I think there's a lot of guys in this draft, who can really, really help you. And they've got to be open to all of them. And I think what's going to happen is, like I said, I really liked Halliburton going into last year's draft. He wound up slipping, I believe, to number 12, I think is where the Kings got him. And that same thing is going to happen. So even if the Bulls are 10, 11, there's going to be one of these players who kind of is a bit of a surprise and winds up slipping. So, even if they're not in the top, in the top 3 to get a Jalen Suggs, they'll still be in pretty good position, I think, to get somebody, especially somebody who might slip past those first few picks.
Guys, he's Shawn Devaney from Heavy.com. Hey, great stuff, buddy. Really appreciate it. Do me a favor. Let everyone know where they can find you and your work online.
Heavy.com. We are ramping up our NBA package. So come check it out. And I'm at Twitter at Shawn Devaney.
Oh, it's Devaney, not Devaney. My
That's right. I get that all the time.
Hey, no problem. Have a wicked piss a day over there.
All right. Thank you, guys.
All right,
hey, don't try to give me any boneless wings. I liked boneless wings when I was 8 years old, but I'm not 8 years old.
Thank you. Real quick, are you a lemon pepper guy, Shawn?
What's that?
Are you a lemon pepper guy?
Oh, I do like lemon pepper. I like the hot buffalo. That's my favorite.
Okay, I'm more of a buffalo guy. The lemon pepper, I'm like this. So I had to find out if you was bone in like a real man, and if you were a lemon pepper. In the house, they like lemon pepper here. I like it hot and spicy.
I like the heat.
And then last question before you go, which is extremely important. Flats or fats? Do you like the flats or the drummies? The wings or the drummies? I
like the flats. There's a little more of a challenge. You get a lot more you can dip. That's what I go for the flat.
Okay. I'm a fat guy. I'm a drummy guy. I like to hold it here, nice and simple. And dip
we should get some wings then. Yeah, I'll take the flats. You take the fats. We'll both.
That sounds like a plan. It's wicked awesome. Freaking wicked awesome. I love it.
Have a good one, Shawn.
Hey, Shawn.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, man. Good time. Hey, guys, that was Shawn Devaney from Heavy.com talking NBA with us. And, there's a lot with this Bulls team. I like them, man. I just, we just keep seeing them. I just want to keep seeing them get better. I just want to keep seeing them improve.
I'm with you real quick. Close out the wing thing. So you're telling me, because I'm usually a drumette person myself, but you don't like to crush down the meat off the bone on the flat, so then you can dip it and get all that surface area, like he was just saying. Like it's something to a flat. I realized that years back. There is a little magic to a flat. I'm both. But I just want to ask you that. Is your action correct in getting the meat off the flat, or are you just eating all off the flat like a savage?
No. So first you break them apart.
Okay.
And it varies because sometimes you have a lot more on the smaller bone than other times. Okay. No problem. Then you just dip it real quick. Toss that to the side or put it to the side of the plate. Then Then you can just pull the other bone with the majority of the meat, just pull all that off, and then yes, you can just dip it in there. And because the problem is, and here's the problem, here's why we have to be very strategic, is that they give us a stupid ass little things of sauce like this big, and like make them bigger, so we don't have to dip it in there and wipe it around. Okay, give us a big old thing where we can just dip the whole thing in and boom. When you got the small little, and you know exactly what I'm talking about, the small little cup, little shot cup, little piss cup, whatever the heck this is. How am I supposed to dip my freaking chicken wing in there, dude?
Now that's a good argument, Shawn. I have to go along with you. That argument's good, but I'm sure the problem would be people that the workers will be giving up too much sauce, and economically it's probably not feasible. But the thing is, when you break, if you take the flat, you put it on something hard, and you squeeze all the meat down off of it, all the bone with the two bones still together, and then that's simple little meat. I just wanted to give you that. That's simple little meat.
I'll try it.
Okay, do it. Yeah, try that one. Try that one. You may enjoy it. But not to these Bulls. To these Bulls. I don't know. To be honest with you. And I know I like Billy Donovan, but I've been biased since No, Vernon, I usually rock with you, Vernon. I usually rock with you. But I don't get it. The old lady likes lemon pepper. It's just I don't get it. It just to me it dries it out a little bit. Actually, I like it hot though. I'm a spicy person. So but even getting to the Bulls, I'm a Billy Donovan guy. Been a Billy Donovan guy since Florida. I do think it's going to work. But I'm getting to the point where I'm starting to question who's really going to be here. And usually we have an affinity for our guys because one, either we draft them or they've been here so long, you don't want to see them go. And I'm exempting Zach LaVine from this. All right, I'm taking Zach out of this conversation. All right, because whatever happened to Zach needs to be of a higher order. But when you're looking at everyone else outside of perhaps Patrick Williams because you just drafted him, but even depending on if somebody else in the league loved him, it'd be silly of you if they were giving you something that was just a crazy trade, not to put it in it, not to add him to it. But the rest of the team is questionable, and it's not in a bad way because we're just finding out what this regime is doing, and we're going to learn in this offseason, or we'll start to learn in this offseason who they value. But I'm just starting to kind of view it through that lens. I've always been a Kobe White fan at UNC. As you've always pointed out, he's only at 1 year, but at that 1 year, my eyes always went to him, and I've said before, I didn't want Garland from Vanderbilt. I wanted Kobe in that draft, and I was happy that the Cavaliers had taken Garland because I didn't trust it. And I wanted Kobe to fall to the Bulls. But and he's young in his career, but I still think we see what his limitations are. And that doesn't mean he may not become a better facilitator as he grows older and wiser in the league. But it seems ill-fated unless, compared to what Shawn was saying, you find someone to go alongside of him. But when he had mentioned what's his name, the three-man with the Bucks, my first thought was C.J. McCollum. You know what I'm saying? I was like, man, you if he had a C.J. McCollum, even though your backcourt would be undersized. But this is another point. I don't think Kobe is important.
That's what you meant.
Chris Middleton, thank you. I don't think Kobe, though, is important enough to where I have to start looking at who I can pair with him yet.
So build around him, okay.
Yeah, exactly, Shawn. I don't think he's proven – I'm not saying he's not going to be a good player, but, like, he's not Dame Dillard where you're like, you know what? We could have this undersized backcourt because Dame is just so like this and CJ is automatic, basically. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like, dude, they're too talented. We got to run with it. I don't think Kobe's to that point. So I wouldn't even go into this looking at who can I necessarily pair with Kobe. Of course, I'll be looking at who can I pair with Zach. You know what I'm saying? Because Zach at least has proven to be a much better player at this point in his career.
Can you pair Kobe with Zach? Because Kobe, again, Kobe's, he just turned 16 years old, something like that. He's got some time. He's got some time to mature. And he could, because all these, remember, Steph and Clay weren't Steph and Clay until they became Steph and Clay. And CJ and Dame, like Dame wasn't video game Dame when he first stepped on the court. He had potential, but he developed and he grew. And I'm just playing devil's advocate.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, you're right.
Because
you're right. It takes time. Everyone doesn't just hit to the league and take off.
And first of all, let him get an NBA body. He's still 20 years old. So once he, puts another 5 or 7 or 10 pounds of muscle on him and can take the beating and take the travel and everything else, it takes a while because people forget and people think just because they travel first class and stay in 5-star hotels that it's easy. It's not easy when you travel so much. If you ever been a businessman for work or you had to travel for a lot, the compressurized, we're talking getting in the airplane, the pressure in the airplane, and getting off, and then traveling, and then going, sleeping in different beds. I know you're getting paid different time zones. I know you're getting paid millions and millions of dollars, but that does a lot to your body, and people don't understand. People don't understand what that does, man. And they're like, well, you should just do it because you're getting paid millions. The fact that you're getting paid millions doesn't negate the actual effects that it has on your body of traveling so often. You're in Chicago today, the next week, then 2 nights from now you're in Miami, then you're in DC, then 2 nights, and then you're in San Antonio, you're back in Chicago. That travel takes a big toll on your body, and people have to remember that. Well, listen, we got to take a quick break, and then the other side of the break, Kenneth and I are going to get into it. We got a whole bunch of stuff to talk about. Arrieta coming back to the Cubs. Ivan's over there doing the happy dance over there. He's,
don't say that because you know what he's going to play when you say the happy dance.
I know that son of a biscuit. But anyway, and then who we going after? Mariota? Garrett Carr? What? Now first is the show. We're gonna find out who the hell the Bears are gonna go after now. So we're gonna talk about that on the other side of the break. So don't go anywhere, folks. Keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya in the morning. Sitting here with my guy, guest co-host Ken Davis on SportsZone Chicago.
Hey, this is Dr. J, and I listen to Shawn and Maya in the morning.
AutomotiveMap.com presents the Sports Flash on 1330 and 95.9 The Zone. The Blackhawks looking to make it 2 straight wins tonight when they visit the Red Wings. First of 2 straight at Detroit. Chicago coming off a 3-2 overtime victory on Saturday over the Blue Jackets. Out of their last 10 games, 8 of those have been decided by a goal. The other pair decided by 2 goals. After tonight, the Hawks play the Red Wings in Detroit on Wednesday, then head to Carolina for a pair of games Friday and Saturday. The Bulls visit the Pacers tonight. Chicago's lost 7 of 10. Indiana's won 2 in a row. Spring training getting underway this week as baseball gets set for a full 162-game schedule. The Cubs and White Sox pitchers and catchers reporting this week. They're due in this Tuesday. College hoops tomorrow. Illinois at home putting a 5-game winning streak on the line against Northwestern. Chuck Sanders, that's the Sports Flash, 1330 95.9 The Zone.
Macy's Star Money Bonus Days are happening now. It's a special time when Star Rewards members earn bonus points and get to their next reward faster. You'll get $10 in Star Money for every $50 spent with your Macy's card, or $10 in Star Money for every $100 spent as a bronze member. So go on and shop the sweetest gifts for them. Then earn Star Money for yourself. Now through February 15th. Macy's Star Rewards. It's how we love you back. Visit Macys.com/Star Money for exclusions and details.
What can give you a competitive edge in today's red-hot housing market? Rocket can. That's because Rocket Mortgage can give you a verified approval. It could help your offer stand out. Rocket Technology provides a rock-solid verification of your income, assets, and credit, giving sellers greater confidence in you. Go to rocketmortgage.com or call us today at 8338-ROCKET.
A verified approval is based on an underwriter's analysis of your individual financial information, appraisal, and title report. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender license in all 50 states and MLSConsumerAccess.org number 3030.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago on this hump day. No, actually, it's Monday. See, I'm about
to say, boy, listen, you was in the future. I was about to say, damn, it's Wednesday.
He like, all right, and I put in shot glass. But do you need some coffee, bro? like you.
It's supposed to be
like these slips in the morning with everybody's name. And I think you call me like Hector.
Called you Hector?
No, I didn't call Hector.
but you got the tea. But
what was you doing, Shawn? What was you doing yesterday, Shawn? What was you doing for Valentine's Day, Shawn? You was getting it in, huh?
No. I'm telling you, it was one. Dude, I was in bed 9:30.
Okay.
No, 10:30.
It's still a whole day. That's still a whole day. You could have been doing something else before you decided you had to do the show.
No, it's too damn cold out there, bro. If it wasn't colder than witch's tit, I'm telling you, I might have been out. But man, dude, it was. I was like, man, I got to warm up, and I got an attached garage. I'm like, I still had to go warm up the car. That's how cold that was.
Yeah, dude.
I was like, should I go? Hey, nothing like FaceTime.
Oh man!
I'm not saying. I'm just saying.
Oh, gotcha. I understand. That needs to be said.
If this is the summer, that's a whole other story. You'd be like, yeah. I'd be like, man, dude, I ain't gonna lie to you, Ken. I'm just gonna take the 5th. But yesterday, that wasn't ridiculous. That was redonkulous, dude. No way, Jose. Look at the Cheryl Scott's rise and shine forecast. Today is a high of 11.
Dude,
11.
The crazy thing is this: Shawn, 25 years ago, that weather wouldn't have mattered, right? He'd been like, "What? I'm out," right? And it's I mean, in a good way. You know what I'm saying? I can just remember putting myself in precarious situations weather-wise just because I was hot. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh yeah. But now, correct, and there's no reason to go out and risk it. It's not going anywhere, gentlemen and gentle ladies.
You're right. It ain't. It ain't.
Not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere.
So, yeah, we got a heat wave coming up. 18 tomorrow, Ken. 19 on Wednesday.
Hey, be careful out there shoveling, y'all. All right. I lost a family member from shoveling. So definitely out there.
No way. That heart attacks, no?
Yeah, take a break. I had to tell, I was talking about it on here about a week or two ago. A lady was out there with me one night because all I'd really do is in front of the garage. I pay somebody to do in front of the house, and then we go and do like around her car, make sure anybody's doing deliveries can get to the house. We don't want anybody to get hurt. But just doing the whole alley, she was like, I'm breathing different. And I said, see, it's different when you out here, you doing this work, right? And I tell her, like, look, really take a break. When I say take a break, not 30 seconds, stop for about 2 minutes and really catch your breath, because you're going to be careful out there. That's all I want to say, everybody out there. Just be careful out there, man, because I won't say just it's a terrible way to go. It's a tragic way to lose somebody doing something like that.
Yeah, and especially if you park your car in the garage, in the city, you got the garage in the back, which means you're going to have to shovel the alley.
Yeah.
And that's a lot. That's a big time.
A lot of snow. And I got a truck, but still, I want to get the clearance right. And since her car isn't really working, she's using the truck. So I really do it to make her feel comfortable. Really, because really the truck can do it, but I do it to make her feel
right. And you know what? Because where I used to live, I had garage access as well. But and dude, I would have to park, literally shovel from my garage to their garage. And then I have to park and I have to shovel all the way almost to the middle of the next garage.
Yes.
Because I like to back my car in. I hate pulling in.
I didn't know you was my guy. Yes. I didn't know you was my guy.
Everywhere. I need to get out. I need to go.
Savage. If you listen, I understand sometimes you have to, but if you really prefer to just pull in and you don't like to back in, so like Shawn just said, you could just go.
I'm gone.
I don't understand how you living, man. And when I'm in class, people do that. I'm like, what are you doing? I'm the same way.
Why don't you just pull up to when you're in you're in the parking lot, like, why don't you just pull up to the next one so you can live?
Right. You mentioned yes.
You don't even got to back in. Just drive in.
Just
the second one.
And then just pull out right now. Dude, you are my brother. Totally. And another last part, also, when you're coming out in that alley, you want to back out, because there's been times where I honk the horn and somebody still comes flying through. Alley. So you want to be able to at least be able to peek a little bit, when you come through. But listen, this is on Shawn and Maya with me sitting here guest co-hosting. This is Shawn and Ken's weather update and how to take care of your shoveling and traffic needs if you're coming out the back alley. And you take that and go forth.
I'm telling you, it's an all day endeavor sometimes.
You know what?
But in it, you got to have a lot of salt. Because once you shovel, it's going to be someone later. But it's just so much easier, because once you get to that point, because now you can come from either way in the alley. You know what I'm saying? You can go, because I got half almost to this garage, almost that garage that way. So now I can pull up and then back in, and then when it's time for me to go, boop, boop.
And you're up.
and especially if it's high snow. So at least I'm in low snow, so at least I can get a little momentum going.
You got real drive in that caddy, right? Yeah, yep. So you have to.
Oh yeah. So so those little idiosyncrasies that just make it easier, because at one point or not, you're gonna have to back up. If you want to do it now, so you can pull in, or you're gonna pull in and then have to back up and not know who's coming out. And especially, and what if someone hits a slick patch of ice and can't stop?
That's what I was about to say. Or if you're backing up and you hit some ice, and then you go sliding out. You don't even know half the way you're going compared to if you're driving and you can see it. At least you know, oh, but I'm about to slide to the fence. You know what I'm saying? Let me cut it right here. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just, again. And see, we got to have some driving conversations. I'm sure there'll be pretty good driving conversations, just idiosyncrasies of things.
I'm telling you, I am a great driver.
I feel you. I know that now just from having this discussion, right? I know that now. All
right. Great driver, dude. Great. And I got to thank the warden, man. My mom was, I was driving when I was like 13. I'm like, oh, let's go. She's like, let's go. I'll drive you. Like, you're driving me. Like, whoa, really? She said, yeah, let's go. She goes, if you're gonna be out here in these streets, she goes, I need to know that I trained you, so I know that you're good. She goes, because I need you. And she goes, I'm not worried about you, just everybody else. I need to see that you can react to other people acting stupid. So yeah, the warden, man,
mom's right there. Yeah,
man.
Pops got me right. Pops got me right.
Yeah,
gave me my lesson. Had me driving at Rainbow Beach, where he let me just do the steering wheel when I was in grade school at first. Just be like, all right. And like, if you ever go into Rainbow Beach when you're coming out for 79th Street, it's a really winding ass road. And I would have to, and then even back there, just sit there and in the empty parking lot, just get it. But I remember like when I totally was sitting in the seat and just some of the frustration. I remember like one time he came and picked me up from St. Francis, and I got to the crib and I couldn't parallel park that joint, man. I just jumped out of frustration. Like, forget it, right? Like I was
so my mom's 4'10" in shoes. Okay. She always had those old school. She had a old Cutlass 98.
Okay.
I'm talking the boats.
Yeah.
Boats. Boats.
Yeah. She's clearing space with that.
Dude, that stuff took leaded gasoline. That's like leaded gasoline. What is this unleaded nonsense? You crazy? It's leaded gasoline in this bad boy. I was like, oh. And so she said, if you can park this, you can park anything. Anything. And then my aunt her sister, they're like two peas in a pod. They're Irish twins. They're 11 months apart.
Okay.
One's August 2nd of 1944. My mom's July 1st of 1945. I guess they didn't have cable or nothing back in the day. So, and so they're like thick as thieves. And she would also have a big ass car too. So so her, man, and that's what I learned to drive on. And it first started at Market Park. You know, we drive on the inner drive, like, okay, I just need you to go. I need you to work on the brakes. I need you to not slam on the brakes and throw me through the windshield. And because back then, you didn't wear seatbelts back then. You didn't do that back then. God forbid in the 80s you put a seatbelt on. What's wrong with you?
Driving around the car, my dad smoking squares, dog. I didn't need that, Father. We all in here smoking a square with him. Like, dude, so look, my dad was a smart person, right? I was looking at him like, really, dude? Like, I'm in here with you, right? It's just, come on, man.
So yeah, it was Market Park. It was just drive, pull up, make cars go around cars. Go around this car because it's going too slow. So you make me go around and all kinds of stuff. And then I ended up pushing cars around there for football training. But that's another story. Hey man, well, let's get to some more sports, man. This Bears, because at the top of the hour we have Eric Lambert coming in from Sports Mockery talking Bears. So now first it was Deshaun Watson, then like, no, it's too rich. Then it was
Carson Wentz.
Then it was now it's Carson Wentz, and then like, no, not Carson Wentz. Now it's Marcus Mariota. Oh no, not Marcus Mariota. Now it's Derek Carr. No, now it's not Derek. Who the hell? Okay, Ken Davis, the GM. Who do you want to see at the quarterback position for this Bears team?
All right. So am I Ken Davis, the GM, and I've been messing up for 6 years?
Mm-hmm.
Or am I okay? Well, let me ask you this too. What parameter? Am I trying to keep my job, or what I'm trying to do what's best for the organization?
Oh, keep your job.
I'm gonna give you both. If I'm trying to keep my job, I probably go and get Derek Carr. If I'm trying to keep because he's the surest bet I feel out of them. And I'll tell you this, it'll drop from listen, I don't know what Lurie is doing over there with the Eagles, but you're not about to fleece me. You know what I'm saying? I don't even, and because this is the thing, I would say I don't even care if I'm gonna lose my job, but of course I would care if I would lose my job. But still, the situation is you have to fix Carson Wentz. Like, you don't even know what you have to do yet for Carson Wentz. So you're risking your job to bring in a damaged commodity, which you may not be able to repair. So if I'm trying to keep my job, Derek Carr has the least amount of warts out of all of these guys. Then it will probably jump down to somebody like, and this is where it's going to get weird, and because I don't trust him in my city with ladies, probably googly eyes, also known as Jameis Winston. You know what I'm saying? Because of what I would have to give up to get him. Because Jameis has been damaged too, but still it's been turnovers instead of just where he just brought the team down, as it seems like what happened with Carson Wentz. Now, I'll say this. If it doesn't matter as far as if my job security is there or if I'm just trying to do what's best for the team regardless, I'm going to have to go and see if I can get Sam Darnold for a second-round pick. And people will say, well, he was a first-round pick. Yeah, but that was 3 or 4 years ago. It'll be different, for instance, like someone like Jordan Love with the Packers, where they used a first-round pick last year. I could see them trying to hold out at least for another year to try to recoup that first-round pick, but it'll probably end up being a second-round pick if Aaron Rodgers keeps playing at the level that he's playing at. The Bears need a tackle. And the reason why I'm saying that, what I would do if I was trying to help the team out for the long haul, you got to get a tackle in this first round of this draft because you can't buy one. It'd be different if you had enough money to go get one. And on top of not having enough money, the cap is shrinking. You cannot give up this. If you're really trying to win, you can't give up that first round pick anyway, for the most part. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you're trying to get Bobby Massey's contract off to have a little flexibility. So to me, you have to, regardless of, let's say if I combine both of those scenarios, you have to get Jenkins or whatever from Oklahoma State, the tackle. Mm-hmm. You know, we see he's been in the mock draft a lot. I don't know about what Slaughter, I believe that's the Northwestern kid that's really maybe end up being a guard, not a tackle because of his arm length. You know what I'm saying? And maybe he'll be able to play right, you know what I'm saying? But still, I don't know if you want a tweener like that with that draft capital. But you got to get a tackle and you got to get a quarterback. So I've told myself over this last week, weekend, that you know what, if they can get their hands on Sam Darnold, because to me, I don't know if Gase and Todd Bowles just fouled this kid up, but he still has some tangibles that I wouldn't mind putting into place, and I don't feel like I would have to give up as much. But yeah, Derek Carr is the best guy available without warts on him. And then I start looking. I don't want Marcus Mariota because Marcus Mariota couldn't put enough heat on Derek Carr. You know what I'm saying? And lost his job to Ryan Tannehill. You know, like just that's not. And then listen, if you asked me a year ago, would I take Marcus Mariota? A year ago, I would have taken Marcus Mariota. You know what I'm saying? But I don't. If Gruden, who I know is a better offensive guy than we have here in Nagy, if Gruden couldn't find a reason to put the guy on the field that he brought in, looking at him to see if he can perhaps use Derek Carr to bring in some draft capital with no guaranteed money left on Derek Carr's deal, if Marcus Mariota couldn't put enough heat to at least get on the field, then I'm sheepish on him right now. And then because I'm also looking at guys I don't have to give up a lot, man, I go and he shouldn't leave the Saints. I go to Googly Eyes and I say, listen, Googly Eyes, with your silly ass W-eating sexual assault. I mean, just W, just ridiculous.
I hate it.
And then all the stuff with the situations with the young ladies that's happened with him, which is just ridiculous to say the least. I go and say, Jameis, you know what? You want a chance to start? And I bring him up here. I make sure that Allen Robinson is still here, and I have a tackle right there. And say, Charles Leno, you better play like your hair's on fire out here, young man. And I probably go for like that because you have to go with what economically is feasible.
I want Carson Wentz. I like Carson Wentz. I just am not giving up number 1 draft picks for him. I give you a couple number 2s and a 3. Okay, I'll give you 2 2s and a 3, but I ain't give you number 1s because there's stuff that we need. And because truth be told, if we don't get a tackle, I don't give a damn who the hell you have back there. You see what happens when you have a shit tackle. Ask Patrick Mahomes the last game they played, a super something or other. I forgot what game that was called. And you see what a Superman looks like when you mean the kryptonite. Kryptonite is no left tackle, and that dude was running. That's how he would have played had we drafted him. That's how he would have played had we drafted him. He'd still be making some crazy, unbelievable throws, but he's throwing them horizontally. You know what I'm saying? Protect. And you know as well as that, all of us have played football, so we understand the game is played from the inside out. And if you don't shore up that inside, that line, man, it don't even matter. Look what happened with Dave Montgomery when they shored up the line. When that same line started 5-6 games in a row, oh damn! Now all of a sudden, David Montgomery's a stud. No, we knew he was a stud. We knew he was a stud. We just had no offensive linemen. When you're breaking tackles, Barlissimo, what's up, Papa? How are you?
Oh, yeah,
when you breaking tackles 1.5 yards behind the line of scrimmage. Come on, man.
It's crazy. Only Barry Sanders.
Yeah, only Barry Sanders can do that and still make you look silly.
I'll just say, Ken, me and you I think we're aligned. Like our thought process on this is aligned. Because Shawn, I mentioned Derek Carr a while ago, but I'm more now leaning towards. I think John Gruden will try to fleece your ass. As opposed to the New York Jets, they're gonna want something, but they know they can't really. They could get something back from Sam Darnold, but they're not going to go ahead and try to hold a ransom like the Raiders would, like the Texans are with Deshaun. I feel like Sam Darnold, with his age, his mentality, leading a really crappy organization and still staying positive, still staying even keeled and not breaking down mentally like I feel like Mitch did. I feel like that in itself speaks to his character as a quarterback. I want to know when you put a defense around him, when you put an offense around him, when you give him a running
receiver. They let Robbie Anderson go.
Right, a receiver. You get a receiver. You get a secondary receiver, a tight end. I want to see that. The Bears have some pieces in place where I would feel comfortable with Sam Darnold, but man, I would love Derek Carr. I really would.
I agree.
Okay, so you guys are more Derek Carr. I'm a little more Carson Wentz. And I agree with you. Carson Wentz, it's upstairs for him because remember he just got hurt. He has a Super Bowl ring, but he didn't really do anything for that. You know what I mean? Like the first half of the season, he was Superman. He was MVP, leading MVP candidate.
2017 though.
Man,
Derek Carr was for the last 3 seasons throwing over 4,000 yards. I'm just looking at Derek Carr with all the situations. Also, he's been played. I say this to give a caveat to. He's played behind the highest paid offensive line in the NFL, I believe, right now. You know what I'm saying? It was up there with Dallas before Dallas's offensive line started to crap the bed a little bit by injury. But still, if I had to choose between him and Carson Wentz, I'll tell you this: who I would want because it's sexier to me is Carson Wentz because I look at his ceiling. But I don't think we'll ever see Carson Wentz get back to 2017. You know what I'm saying? And I hate to say that because I was such a huge fan of 2017 Carson Wentz.
Yeah.
But it's just I feel like we would have seen more of it. Now, listen, he's had attrition like an MF when it comes to his skill players. All right, let alone his offensive line. But the skill players there, if you even look at in 2019 who he was playing with at the end of the year, how remedial it was, you got to take your hat off to him just to be able to get that team. I know it's in the NFC East into the playoffs, but still, if I had my druthers, there's nothing that you can say about Derek Carr where it's like it's truly a knock on him. Maybe it's just he hasn't played, and neither one of these guys in enough big time games to know if he's clutch or not. You know what I'm saying? But as far as looking at them on paper, Derek Carr has more values because you just said, Shawn, it's all up top with Carson Wentz. There's nothing really wrong with Derek Carr. You know what I'm saying? So, but what he said, when I say John Gruden's going to fleece you. It's not even a question. He's going to fleece you. You know what I'm saying? Especially the Bears be like, I'm coming in for seconds. Right? Like, I'll take you, sir, I have another. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm coming in. I'm coming, John. I'm coming, right? I'm bending over. Hit me with that wood, sir. Hit me with that wood. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the thing, man. And it's again, I'd rather say, listen, this is a problem I don't know what type of football person. I'm going straight to Ryan Pace. I don't know what type of football person is Ryan Pace. Because if Ryan Pace could be the person to kind of leave what you heard Tom Brady did down there in Tampa, where it was like, all right, we got like to week 13, and we were like, we taking all this out. All right. Or like what you heard during the extended break in the NFL, what Aaron Rodgers and Matt LaFleur did, when he was like, let's get out all this cute stuff that's not working. Let's strip it out. What works? If you had somebody between Nagy and Pace that could do that and be like, let's just get quarterback B or C, right? Let's get googly eyes. You know what I'm saying? Let's get even a Sam Darnold, even though you would have to, I would say, simplify it a little more compared to what Jameis was playing in college and also was played in the pros, being under Bruce Arians. But still, and get this guy, but fortify everything around them, because we were 8-8 last year. All right, we fortified a defense. All right, get that. One thing that all three of us have said, get that Mark Anderson guy in the 5th, 4th round that all I need you to do is pressure because the guys that I'm paying to do the pressure with all the big contracts, they're not getting to the quarterbacks. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just need you to do this in 2 years, 3 years, I'm going to pay you. All right? Like, you get one of those guys, you fortify, as we just said, with the offensive line, with the tackle, but you already know you got to get another tackle in the later round. He just may not turn into anything, but you better not leave this draft with just a tackle. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying wait till the 6th or 7th to try to find it. And you just try to go with a decent to good quarterback and see what happens. But I mean, I think it'll work? No, because I don't count on these two dudes to know the difference between the back side of their back and the front side of their face.
But here's the most important thing: who's going to be calling the offense? That's the most important thing, because because I don't think if you named any one of those guys, I think Bill Lazor can work around their skill set.
I agree with you.
But if Nagy's calling the plays with his stupid ass, grubby little dirty fingers on the playbook, if he's calling them, then it's got to be this particular guy, and that's the thing that sucks about him. You know what? There's that good old boy network because Andy Reid hyped him up so much. It's apparent that he refuses to morph his system to the skill set of his talent.
Which any good coach does.
Man, that's why I called him. I called him a fraud right away. I disliked him when he didn't use Jordan Howard by his first year, and I'm like, right. No. I'm like, this dude was the only guy had more rushing yards than him in the first 2 years was Ezekiel Elliott behind that crazy ass offensive line, and you can't use Jordan Howard because you want to pass the ball. I like, come on, man. And that's why I knew that was my first sign of Nagy. Who's going to call the plays? Who is going to call plays? That determines what quarterback you get. Because if Bill Lazor is allowed to call the plays by himself, okay, Nagy, 3rd and 2, 3rd and stuff. Yeah. Once in a while.
Which is why it's on you to decide if we're going to go for it.
Right, basically.
Still, the scheme is based off of what I'm doing and talking about Bill Lazor. But this is the thing, Shawn. We know Nagy can't keep his hands off.
No, he can't. His ego's too big.
And he especially, listen, when stuff hits the fan and he wants to try to validate for his next job, you know what I'm saying? Look, man, because listen, he's fighting now to be an offensive coordinator for his next job, because he may not be able to be nothing but a quarterback's coach. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how far it's fallen. And you mentioned Andy Reid hyping him up. It's also coming off of Sean McVay and what he did with the Rams. And people are like, let me go give me a young guy. And it's like, nah, give me someone who knows what the hell they're doing and has how to be a CEO.
But also, you saw what Sean McVay did. Sean McVay said, okay, I can't continue to throw the ball. So he went and got some running backs. He got some running backs. He's like, I don't know if anyone knows that if you run the ball, it actually helps your quarterback. I don't know if anyone knows
after having
yet.
Todd Gurley, after already having, and well, listen, at one point, Todd Gurley, this was when Le'Veon Bell was still with the Steelers. Todd Gurley at one season was the best running back in the league because that was changing. But as far as catching the ball and being just a dog when it comes to running, you had Todd Gurley, and as you said, smart enough to know, listen, I can't depend on Jared Goff, right? And then Gurley's gone. What are we going to do? Like you just said, bringing in Henderson, bringing in Eckler. You know what I'm saying? Like fortifying even and again, but that's not what we have here. But you know what? That doesn't even just go to Sean McVay. That goes to Les Snead too, and that goes to Ryan Pace as far as knowing what you need and saying, like, if these guys are this cooperative team and they're honest with one another with the self-reflection that George McCaskey was talking to us about, what the hell are they reflecting on? Because we're not even coaches as far as league pro coaches and know that it doesn't make sense. So again, I'm telling you what I would do. I don't think it's going to work regardless, which you're also saying because of the person is one calling the plays and the guy above him that's making the decisions that gets a chance to keep making mistakes when it comes to his drafts and gets to go out there and use other capital to cover for his mistakes.
Man, that's Ken Davis from That Davis Show, man. Good stuff, Papa. I appreciate it. Let everyone know where they can find you and your work online.
You can always find That Davis Show anywhere you can find podcasts, and also The Flip if you want to listen to stuff that's not about sports with a little bit of fun, a little bit of everything on it. But yeah, follow me at That's Davis. Follow the show at That's Davis Show, and we always appreciate it.
All right, Papa. We'll see you Friday.
See you, bro.
All right, guys. That was Ken Davis, man. We got to take a quick break, and on the other side of the break, we're gonna have more Bears talk with our guy Eric Lambert. Right after. We'll be back right after this.
Oh, you froze, Shawn. My bad.
Oh, it's cold out here. It's cold out here.
There you go.
Hey, this is Dr. J, and I listen to Shawn and Maya in the morning.
AutomotiveMap.com presents the Sports Flash on 1330 and 95.9 The Zone. The Blackhawks looking to make it 2 straight wins tonight when they visit the Red Wings. First of 2 straight at Detroit. Chicago coming off a 3-2 overtime victory on Saturday over the Blue Jackets. Out of their last 10 games, 8 of those have been decided by a goal. The other pair decided by 2 goals. After tonight, the Hawks play the Red Wings in Detroit on Wednesday, then head to Carolina for a pair of games Friday and Saturday. The Bulls visit the Pacers tonight. Chicago's lost 7 of 10. Indiana's won 2 in a row. Spring training getting underway this week as baseball gets set for a full 162-game schedule. The Cubs and White Sox pitchers and catchers reporting this week they're due in this Tuesday. College hoops tomorrow, Illinois at home putting a 5-game winning streak on the line against Northwestern. Chuck Sanders, that's the Sports Flash, 1330 95.9 The Zone.
Macy's Star Money Bonus Days are happening now. It's a special time when Star Rewards members earn bonus points and get to their next reward faster. You'll get $10 in Star Money for every $50 spent with your Macy's card, or $10 in Star Money for every $100 spent as a bronze member. So go on and shop the sweetest gifts for them, then earn Star Money for yourself. Now through February 15th. Macy's Star Rewards. It's how we love you back. Visit Macys.com/Star Money for exclusions and details.
What can give you a competitive edge in today's red-hot housing market? Rocket can. That's because Rocket Mortgage can give you a verified approval. It could help your offer stand out. Rocket Technology provides a rock-solid verification of your income, assets, and credit, giving sellers greater confidence in you. Go to rocketmortgage.com or call us today at 8338-ROCKET.
A verified approval is based on an underwriter's analysis of your individual financial information, appraisal, and title report. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender licensed in all 50 states and MLSConsumerAccess.org number 3030.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago. We just sat in with Ken Davis from, you know how we do from 10 to 11 on Mondays and Fridays. Man, great conversation. But I'm going to bring in my guy who's going to sit with me. He's going to take the baton and run the anchor leg from 11 to 12. Our guy, he is one half of the duo, the dynamic duo from What's Up Cuz. He's the co-host of What's Up Cuz that plays right here on SportsZone Chicago. They'll be on tonight. We're going to find out who he has on tonight. Oh no, they're on in 2 weeks. I think that's right. 2 weeks. So they got a little break. Oh, you know what? It's President's Day. I forgot. I'm taking a week off. What are you working at public CPS now? What the heck? Let's bring him out. You can find him on Twitter at JCorden. Guys, let's bring him out. Jason Palmer. Jay, what's up, Papa? How are you?
What's up, man? Hey, man, I'm honoring the presidents, man.
The dead presidents.
Yeah, man, I'm honoring the presidents. You know, they got good car sales on President's Day weekend, so I'm trying to get calm. I'm supposed to be in Miami, but
right.
you know,
here's a little life hack for those of you who don't know. Like, I love shopping at the outlet malls. Like, I'll go to Rosemont, I'll go to Kenosha or Michigan City. They're already outlets, but they always have sales on holidays.
Yep.
So it's even better. So I got 2 watches. I got an Armani, 2 Armani watches for like $175, like 4 or 5 years ago. Dope. Each watch was like $350 and change, but for $175 for both. That's when you go on holiday and the holiday weekends. You got to go to those outlet malls.
Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah, I was supposed to be in Miami to pick up my car. I'm getting another car. I'm buying it from someone down in Miami. We're gonna take long weekend and drive it up, and then I looked at the forecast and saw people in Dallas don't know how to drive worth a damn, and there are no trucks in the southern part of the United States. And I like, no, I ain't doing this drive. I know they don't know how to handle that weather. So
no, they don't.
I said I'll just chill at home this weekend. So the wife and I just extended Valentine's weekend. That's all, man.
Okay. Hey, listen, we got to talk Bears. I want to get my next guest on, man, and. Who is the first? It was Deshaun Watson, then it's Carson Wentz, then it's Marcus Mariota, and now it's Derek Carr. Then maybe it's Jameis Winston. Who the hell are they going after? So we're going to talk to this guy, man. He covers the Bears for Sports Mockery, and all this dude does is everything Bears. He tweets, he writes, everything he does it revolves around the Bears, and I love it, guys. You can find him on Twitter at Eric Lambert1. My good friend of the program, Eric Lambert. What's up, buddy? How are you?
I'm doing good, guys. How are you?
Great.
Wonderful. Except for the snow that's coming down out there. Damn. But it is Chicago in February. So what are you going to do, huh? What are you going to do? So, man, let's get right to it, man. Who are they going after? You wrote an article. Who the Bears might be going after? As I said, first it was Deshaun Watson. It was like, yeah, we're gonna get him. Yeah, go all in. And then like, yeah, you don't have the capital and to get this. Otherwise, all right. So let's go. Carson Wentz. Yes, Carson Wentz. Go get him. Yeah, it doesn't seem like they're asking too much. I wouldn't give a number one for Carson. I give you a couple twos. Then they're like, okay, Marcus Mariota's on the thing. No, Derek Carr's on the thing. Who the heck are the Bears thinking?
Well, they're covering all their bases, that's for sure. You know, right now the way I have it is the three guys they'd like are obviously Watson, Dak Prescott, and Derek Carr. You know, those are the three veterans who really stand out as, you know, they'd be upgrades over what they've had. After that, you're starting to venture into gamble territory. You're looking at Carson Wentz. He makes sense because Pace liked him in 2016. John DeFilippo coached him in Philly. So they do have some connections to him. He is talented. He's been to a Pro Bowl before. He was playing at an MVP level in 2017. So he's definitely on the table. And then you start looking at maybe Sam Darnold. Obviously, he's had struggles in New York, but he's very talented. He's only 23 years old. He's still on a rookie contract, and you have to keep that in mind with the Bears because of their cap issues. So it all comes down to, you know, they're trying to find the right mix. They want talent. They want a veteran with experience. And they prefer somebody who's a little bit on the cheaper side, preferably one they don't have to give up their first-round pick for if it's going to be a trade. So it's finding that right balance that's proving really difficult for them right now.
So doesn't this show you, though, the fact that they have to go get another quarterback? Doesn't this show you that they screwed up the first time? And when that little BS press conference they had a couple of weeks ago, and McCaskey said, yeah, we trust these guys to get it done. Doesn't this show you that they just can't get it done, but you're going to trust the guys who screwed the shit up the first time to do it again? You know what? My heater's busted, so let me go call this guy, and he screws it up. You know what? I'm going to call him. I'll call him again to get the job done. Come on, man.
I mean, I totally understand that line of thinking, and there's plenty of truth to it. I mean, you've given Pace three legitimate cracks at the quarterback position. He's whiffed on all three. You got Glennon, Trubisky's obviously the big one, and then you got Foles. None of them have solved the position at all, and now you're going to give him a fourth without a lot of capital to really operate with, and also on a time limit because you're looking at him as sort of a lame duck status in that he hasn't been extended, and he's basically been given, you know, the requirement of you better win in 2021 or you're gone. So he's going to have trouble luring in free agents because of that. And also he doesn't have a lot of capital to work with in the trade market. In the draft, he's only the 20th pick. So you really can't be gambling on him finding anybody of note in the draft in terms of a rookie QB. So he really has to kind of thread the needle right now. And, you know, that's asking a lot from a guy who's whiffed so often at that position.
Yeah. I mean, here's my question. Are they considering looking in-house, even though there's nothing in the house? But, you know, the worst thing that can happen is that they absolutely swing and miss during free agency and get nobody. And then they're kind of stuck, seeing that they've pretty much burned the bridge with Trubisky, I think.
I don't think Trubisky's coming back, personally. I don't think he wants to come back. I don't think they want him back. I think Nagy wants to move on, and I think Trubisky wants to move on. It's going to be one of those mutual parting of ways that they always, you know, that famous words they like to use. But in terms of Nick Foles, I do think he's on the table in terms of a possibility. I don't think he's their first option, that's for sure. But, you know, he is their fallback option in that, okay, if we have to go with him, we're going to use every resource available to us to build the offense around him, find wide receivers, find an offensive line, build up that running game as best we can, and see if we can, you know, run it back within, because when he's protected, he can be effective. It's just a question of, can you protect him? Because they sure as heck didn't last year.
Well, and I guess my other question, Eric, to that is just this organization in general. Why is it so damn impossible for them to find a legitimate NFL quarterback? This isn't a Ryan Pace problem or a Nagy problem that just started. This has been going on like almost since the history of the organization. What is going on with them that they don't understand that arguably the most important position in all of sports is something they need to focus on and get them a legitimate franchise quarterback?
Oh, 100%. I think it's a combination of so many things. way back when, George Halas actually had a really good eye for quarterbacks. I mean, he had a run where he had Sid Luckman, Bobby Lane, George Blanda. I mean, he was really good at identifying quarterbacks. I think one of the problems that surfaced was he stopped investing in the position with first-round picks. He went really cheap there for a long time. And by the time they started getting back into it was pretty much around the time he died in the early 80s, unfortunately. And, his last major pick was Jim McMahon, which, worked out pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, you had the McCaskies come in, and they have no football background. They didn't have George Halas's, love of the game and all that. So they're hiring people who they view, with good business acumen and all that, but have no real grasp of, football. And most of the guys they've hired, Jerry Angelo, Ryan Pace, all you can run down the line, they just had no background in offense and no background in thinking that way. It's always defense, running game, Chicago Bears football. And, unfortunately, it's taken them this long to catch up to the fact that, maybe quarterbacks really do run this league. And now they're trying to catch up and just haven't had a lot of success doing it.
Guys, we're joined by Eric Lambert from Sports Mockery, talking Chicago Bears football right here on Shawn and Maya on SportsZone Chicago. So, there's a lot, and you mentioned that the salary cap is shrinking this year. What are they going to do with Allen Robinson? Are they going to franchise him? Do they want him back? Are they going to franchise him and trade him? Are they going to franchise him and try and work out a long-term deal to drop his average annual salary down? What do you think they're going to do? Because if you try and bring a quarterback in here or trade for a quarterback and you don't have a number one receiver, you don't have a number one. I mean, unless most quarterbacks don't have no trade clauses. So when you come here, you're going to be mad as hell if you're a quarterback and they trade for you and you have no number one receiver.
Absolutely. I think Allen Robinson is basically 1B to the quarterback situation being 1A. You have to make sure you hang on to him. I do think the franchise tag is going to be on the table 100%, but I think their goal still is to extend him, because if you extend him, not only do you keep him long term, but you can maneuver his 2021 cap hit to be lower, which is obviously the goal. Now, if they're forced to tag him, I still think they will, because he's your best offensive player and it's not really that close. So if you're going to get a quarterback, you need to have him and Darnell Mooney as sort of that 1-2 option going into the season. Otherwise, the quarterback you bring in will almost be dead on arrival because he won't really have a lot of weapons to throw to. So I do think Robinson's going to be in Chicago one way or another, but I think the goal is still a long-term extension. It's just a question of, can they find that common ground?
J.J. Watt, he gets mutually released by the Texans, and everyone's like, bring him here, bring him here, bring him here. His wife plays for the Red Stars. It's a perfect match. Do you see him as a fit here in Chicago?
In terms of character and ability, 100%. I think he'd look great on that defense. I think he'd love that style of defense. He's personally been my favorite player for the longest time. I absolutely love J.J. Watt. I don't really get invested in a lot of players outside of the Bears, but he's one of the few I did, because I just love watching him. I've loved watching him for years. So that would be a personal dream of mine if he actually did come to Chicago. He'd have to take a significant discount to do so. And the question would be, does he view the Bears as a legitimate Super Bowl threat? That's kind of I'm not sure about that, but being close to his wife is obviously a good sell. He'd be playing on a really good defense. So I do think it's possible, but I don't know if the Bears are, really the favorite right now, especially with all their resources being focused towards the offense.
Hey, Eric, one of the questions also is with the cornerback position. How are we going to add? Because, I think we got one legitimate quarterback, and then we had a bunch of guys who had potential, but they got injured. I know the rookie we had, Jalen, he got hurt. What's the other? Our nickel quarterback, he got hurt. What are these guys looking like in terms of contracts going into next year? And is that also a position we need to consider trying to upgrade?
Well, I think they got two legitimate starters right now in terms of Fuller and Johnson. Now, the question is, with their salary cap problems, are they going to be forced to unload Fuller?
Right.
Because that gives you $11 million in cap space. You can probably trade him for, maybe a third-round pick and maybe a later-round pick along with that. That's usually the going rate for somebody of his ability and his age. So that is something they will have to consider. Obviously, they'd prefer not to, because he's still a really good player, and pairing him with Johnson gives you a nice 1-2 tandem on the back end of that defense. Johnson's nice and cheap. He's only 21 years old. So, he has a bright future, obviously, if he can stay healthy. The problem for the Bears is depth, because I don't think Buster Skrine's going to be back. He's getting to be too expensive. He's coming off his 6th concussion, which is a big red flag for somebody like that. So I think he's probably going to end up getting cut. And after that, you have a lot of question marks in terms of your depth. Kindle Vildor was a rookie last year, had a couple of nice moments, but, really struggled against the better receivers in the league. Duke Shelley tackled really well. I really like the way he sort of plays the run, but his coverage is still hit and miss. So you've got a lot of question marks in terms of your depth that they're probably going to have to address, maybe with a veteran or maybe with another draft pick. So that's definitely going to be a position to watch.
It really is. And let's talk about this left tackle position, because that's one of the things that we truly, truly need, because it doesn't matter who the hell we have slinging the ball back there. As I said in the last segment when we were talking with Ken, it doesn't matter who's back there throwing the ball, because we had Patrick Mahomes looking like an undrafted rookie free agent, an athletic undrafted rookie free agent in the Super Bowl because he had no protection. So, the issue that we need to figure out is, what are they going to do with the tackle spot? This is why I don't want them to give up number ones. I think, in my opinion, I think you go after the studliest stud tackle you can get at 20, or package something up to move up if you see somebody in there that you like. Now, this is where you jump up to get somebody, because this is a need. It's not a rusher, and I know we all need rushers, but this is something that's going to protect your quarterback, whoever it is. And this is what I think the Bears need to do. Who do you like in this draft at the tackle position? And do you think the Bears are going to do literally the right thing and focus specifically on an offensive tackle, a left offensive tackle, if they can, with their first round pick?
I do believe offensive line is their focus for this draft, 100%, especially if they can get a veteran quarterback that they like without giving up their first round pick. From everything I've heard, that's their goal. Find a good quarterback without giving up that first round pick so they can use it on an offensive lineman, because they know they need to bolster it, and offensive tackle is obviously the area you really need to focus. And this draft is really loaded with good offensive tackle prospects, a lot of them. There's probably going to be a number of first-round picks at that position, so they're in a good spot to find somebody talented for either the left or right side. Right now, I think Bobby Massey's probably going to be the one more likely to get cut because he's struggled to stay healthy.
Mm-hmm.
He's getting on the older side and all that, so he's the one I'd be looking at, although I wouldn't rule out Leno either. But the guys I've been looking at that are possibilities are Christian Darrisaw out of Virginia Tech. I really like his, he's got that nastiness you always like to see. He's a violent kind of player. He's athletic. He's solid in pass protection. I think he can play either side, left or right. So he's somebody I'd be looking at. Jalen Mayfield from Michigan. He's a guy who I think gets overlooked. He's another of those mauler types that you really want on your offensive line, kind of an enforcer. So, I'm really holding out hope that Rashawn Slater somehow drops into range for the Bears, because he's such a good player for Northwestern, and he'd be a perfect fit for the Bears. He's got the size, he's got the athleticism, he's got the, again, the mean streak, but, he has everything except the long arms that, everybody seems to focus on for a tackle. If you could just overlook the arms, he looks like a guy who's going to play for you for 10 years. So, this tackle class is really talented, and I think there's going to be a lot of long-term starters to come out of it, and I really hope the Bears are going to be one of them.
Hey, Eric, Eddie Goldman opted out last year. Don't know if he's going to opt in this year or not. COVID is still, ravaging the country right now. If he does come back to the season, how big of a boost would that be for the Bears, and what can we really expect from him after taking a full year off from football if he does come back?
Well, Russ will definitely be a factor with Eddie. You have to assume that he's going to, take a little time to get back into it, especially if they have to shorten the offseason again because of the COVID situation. But with the vaccines rolling out faster and faster, I think he'll be a little more inclined to opt back in this year, especially with the amount of money he stands to miss out on if he opts out again. So I do think he's probably going to end up playing. And if he does, it would be a huge boost for the Bears in terms, especially their run defense, because their run defense was leaky throughout the season last year. And getting him back in the middle would be huge, both for that and for their inside linebackers, Trevathan and Smith, who really missed him because he was able to eat up so many blocks and they weren't able to make as many plays as they usually do, even though Roquan still played outstanding. So, getting him back in the middle there will ease pressure on everybody around him.
Yeah, it will. And I think that'll be a huge number because now we have two guys who can collapse the pocket. And that was a big issue in 2018 was we had guys who can collapse the pocket. Eddie Goldman, Akeem Hicks. So when you got Khalil Mack coming around the corner, quarterbacks step up when you have that pressure, but they couldn't do that because of those two studs were able to collapse the pocket. And I think that's going to do wonders for this defense. And we got to let you go real quick, but Kingly Man said I would restructure Fuller, make him a safety, and draft a young corner to pair with Johnson. I don't know if I'd move him to safety. I like him at corner. I like him and Jalen Johnson at corner. I think you can get a safety in the second and third or fourth round. I think because you need a strong safety. You don't really need a free safety. You got Eddie Jackson, and hopefully he comes back and plays because Eddie Jackson's his plays suffered big time. I don't know if it's because he got the contract and he started feeling himself a little too much. Okay, but there was no sense of urgency, and there seemed a lot of times that he didn't, and I hate to use an old reference, but he lost the eye of the tiger. He didn't have that edge that made him so versatile, so valuable, and so deadly. His first couple of years in the league. So hopefully he reassesses he takes a good look at himself, self-scouts, self-assesses himself, and says, I got to get back to that old form because this Eddie Jackson that they have right now is just not very productive and doesn't strike in anybody. And not fear because he can knock you out because you can't do that now. It's too rough, unnecessary roughness, but fear of getting a turnover and taking it to the house. So. Hey, Eric, I know you got to run, buddy. I appreciate your time, but do me a favor, let everyone know where they can find you and your work online.
You can find me at Eric Lambert1 on Twitter. I'm on there all the time, and you can see my work there too.
Great stuff, buddy. I appreciate it. Thanks for your time.
Anytime, guys.
All righty. Guys, that was Eric Lambert from Sports Mockery talking Bears football with us. Man, they have a lot, man. They got a lot to get done, dude. We're talking offensive line, and quarterback, wide receiver. But I'll tell you what, getting Eddie Goldman back is going to be huge. I'm glad you asked that question. That's going to be huge. That's going to be huge. Now, the question is, I hope he's able to stay in shape. I hope he's able to maintain his weight and stay pretty close to where he was at. Okay. Mm-hmm. Because they need somebody like him. They need not someone. They need him, not somebody like him. They need him to get back to the form of 2019 because this guy was that dude, and he was probably the most underrated nose guard in the NFL, and that's okay. No, that's okay. The Bears knew what he was. The Bears knew his value. His teammates knew his value, and now him coming back should be a huge, huge, huge help. And I think I'm telling you, that's going to help out Robert Quinn. That's going to help out Khalil Mack, and I think that's going to give them so much more pressure on a quarterback when he can't step up because you got a 320, 30-pound guy, right? In your face, ready to rip your head off.
So I guess here's my question, Shawn. Him taking the year off, he opted out for COVID. Not a problem. I don't have a problem with that at all. Could it actually benefit him in a way in that you don't have a year's worth of wear and tear on the body? Mm-hmm. So you got that balance of, how is he going to be condition-wise physically? But also, this guy didn't get beat up for a full year. His body saved a year. It's like if you don't drive a car for a year, you may have to get a new battery and, maybe change the tires out, but you didn't have that wear and tear on the car. I'm wondering what do you think could be the effects of that?
I think it's a great thing. Someone that big,
right?
Okay, someone that big. When you're in the trenches, I mean, we've all seen stories of guys. I played 12 years in the league, and this, and my arthritis, and my knees, and my ankles, my hips, my elbows, my shoulders. You give your body a chance to recover. Now, the only thing that, had I been the Bears trainer, I would have said, hey, listen, I need you to lift heavy, but I also need you to swim. Swimming that alleviates a lot of the pressure in your joints. And with all the, because when's the last time he stopped or he didn't play football? Right. You know what I mean? When was the last time? Grammar school? The year before he started playing football was probably the last time he didn't play football. So when you go and you give your body a year to rest and you're in a swimming pool, and that was Jay, that was one of the big secrets to my success and my longevity was the pool.
Yes.
And so you get in there, the buoyancy factor. So you're able to rehab and do things and exercise without the full weight of your actual body because of the buoyancy factor. And you can do a lot. You can strengthen yourself. So, I don't know what he did in the off season, but that year off of having your body heal, and trust me, you made enough money. All right. So I really hope that you pampered yourself. I really hope that you stretched a lot. I really hope that you lifted, you stretched, and you swam. Because if he did those things, man, now you're a little more flexible. Now, just in case those weird positions in the pile, you're not going to be as susceptible to injuries and ligaments and joints and, getting, twisted up and hurt. Hopefully he took this year off because I think it'll be a good thing for him to come back, with one less year of wear and tear, but actually kind of resetting and getting him to, a much better place physically. And maybe even emotionally and psychologically and mentally is you taking the time off. It really could help you refocus. And I'll tell you what, I can tell you he missed the game. I can tell you he, as a football player at that age, you miss that game when, you're not playing, you see your boys out there and you want to help, you miss it. But you also have to, take an inventory of what's best for you, which again, I have no problem with him taking off for COVID either. Okay. But you have to say, what can I do to help these guys when I come back? What can I do now that's going to help me when I come back? And hopefully trainers and everything got him doing certain exercises, especially flexibility. Because who was great, a big guy who was really flexible was Spice Adams.
Yeah, without a doubt, without a doubt. And I mean, you and I talk a lot about it. And with me being a water polo referee, a lot of well, I ain't gonna say a lot, but there are more football coaches who are understanding getting their players in the pool is a good thing. So it's going to be very interesting how it works out this year because water polo season is in the spring. So a lot of times, and I'll just say Julian High School, I know their water polo coach pretty well. Most of her water polo team were offensive and defensive linemen on the Julian Jaguars football team. And they use water polo as to help train them and get them ready for spring football because it was great for conditioning. It was easy on the joints. And, you coach at Curie. Curie has got one, I would say the best boys water polo team in the city. They're very good.
Omar.
Water polo. To see kids doing multiple sports and anything you can do to help keep your body in condition without the wear and tear on it. And hydrotherapy is a great way to do it, whether it's swimming or water polo or diving or synchronized swimming. I don't care what you do. And, as high as the drowning rate is in the African-American Latino community as well, to get these kids in the pool and get them in that water, kind of early in life, it really benefits them in so many ways. So I really do hope Eddie was able to take care of himself. And, for those of you who have young athletes at home, please encourage them to get into the water sports as well.
Yeah. I actually had I decided to go for my doctorate, my thesis was going to be on the healing powers of water for athletes, because it helped me a lot. And I got turned on to it back in 97 when I tweaked a hamstring. And one of my guys, offensive lineman, big 6'5", 320, stud athlete. He would hoop. He would just a stud. He was like, "Do you know how to swim?" I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "All right, meet me at the pool." I got a quick story before we go to break. So they're like, "Meet me at the pool," and I had to go to Stanton Park. You know where that's at? I
do not know where that one is.
Cabrini Green.
Okay,
Cabrini Green. So he's like, "Okay, come down, Larrabee, turn left. I'm going north. Turn left on Clybourne, where you're going northwest, and then there's a church on your left-hand side. Because mind you, the green was still up,
right?
Okay, he's like, and don't pass that church because there's a driveway right there, and otherwise you're gonna miss it. I was like, all right. So sure enough, I missed it. So I had to go back around. This is way before New City was there. So I go back around and go in there. So now the projects are on my left.
Yeah.
Okay, all the way up there, and Stanton Park is on my right. So I go there, and I just really no way to park. I just parked to the side, and then I went in, and I was like, "Hey, dude, I'm here." He's like, "All right, cool. Let's go outside for a second." It's like, okay. So we went outside, and we talked for 3 minutes, 4 minutes. All of a sudden, somebody from the green up there went like, "Woo-hoo!" My guy looked up. He was like, "Woo woo!" He's like, "All right, let's go in." I was like, "Dude, what the hell did you just do?" He's like, he goes, "I'll just let my man know that your car's good. Your car's safe. You don't have to worry about it." I was like, "Are you serious?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm serious." I was like, "Okay, good, man, good." That's good. I was like, dude, it was out of a movie. Out of a movie.
Yeah. That's life up there at Cabrini Green back in the day.
And so now that they tore it down, the church is still there, and I see where the park is still there. The swim. I was like, dude, that's where I used to go, and it was just nuts. It's crazy. Well, listen, we got to take a quick break. The last break of the show. Don't go anywhere, folks. Keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago with guest co-host Jason Palmer. We'll be back right after this.
Hi, this is George Iceman Gervin. I listen to Shawn and Maya in the morning.
AutomotiveMap.com presents the Sports Flash on 1330 and 95.9 The Zone. The Blackhawks looking to make it 2 straight wins tonight when they visit the Red Wings. First of 2 straight at Detroit. Chicago coming off a 3-2 overtime victory on Saturday over the Blue Jackets. Out of their last 10 games, 8 of those have been decided by a goal. The other pair decided by 2 goals. After tonight, the Hawks play the Red Wings in Detroit on Wednesday, then head to Carolina for a pair of games Friday and Saturday. The Bulls visit the Pacers tonight. Chicago's lost 7 of 10. Indiana's won 2 in a row. Spring training getting underway this week as baseball gets set for a full 162-game schedule. The Cubs and White Sox pitchers and catchers reporting this week they're due in this Tuesday. College hoops tomorrow, Illinois at home putting a 5-game winning streak on the line against Northwestern. Chuck Sanders, that's the Sports Flash, 1330 95.9 The Zone.
Macy's Star Money Bonus Days are happening now. It's a special time when Star Rewards members earn bonus points and get to their next reward faster. You'll get $10 in Star Money for every $50 spent with your Macy's card, or $10 in Star Money for every $100 spent as a bronze member. So go on and shop the sweetest gifts for them. Then earn Star Money for yourself. Now through February 15th. Macy's Star Rewards. It's how we love you back. Visit Macys.com/Star Money for exclusions and details.
What can give you a competitive edge in today's red-hot housing market? Rocket can. That's because Rocket Mortgage can give you a verified approval. It could help your offer stand out. Rocket Technology provides a rock-solid verification of your income, assets, and credit, giving sellers greater confidence in you. Go to rocketmortgage.com or call us today at 8338-ROCKET.
A verified approval is based on an underwriter's analysis of your individual financial information, appraisal, and title report. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender license in all 50 states and MLSConsumerAccess.org number 3030.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago in this House Music Monday edition. And so no show for you tonight, huh, Papa?
Yeah, no show tonight, man. So we'll come back next week. Actually, next week, Shawn, we got a really kind of unique show. Got a great show. We got our guy, Coach Porter from Loyola. The Loyola Ramblers are ranked number 22 in the country right now. Coach Porter is going to come on. He's going to join us next week. We also just secured this morning Phil Westbrook. Phil Westbrook was one of the first African Americans to get a medal in the sport of fencing in the Olympics back in the 70s. He's got a foundation out of New York City. And in the Olympics, if we can get them to take place, which I think they will later this year over in Tokyo, there's going to be probably at least 3, but possibly 4 African Americans on the USA Olympic fencing team. So
Really?
we're going to talk to them. Yeah. So, I thought that was very unique. And they're all coming out of Phil's Academy out there in New York City. So, we're going to talk a little bit about the sport of fencing and getting people from our community in it and all the opportunities that come with that sport. Because, you and I know, Shawn, there's so many different sports out here. So many. And we focus on, a few of the more popular ones, but there are opportunities in every sport. There's opportunities to travel. There's opportunities to get college scholarships. So we're going to talk a little bit about the sport of fencing. It's very unique sport, man. It takes a lot of just from talking to these guys, it takes a lot of agility and some strength in the legs to do that sport. So that's going to be a real interesting conversation.
I've never fenced.
Me either.
I played around like we fenced.
Yeah, like we're in Star Wars.
Yeah. We'd have one of the cars is somebody broke. I found a. Remember the old school antennas in the cars? Yep. You turn them on, turn it off. We found a couple of those in the street, and so we were like, oh, we Star Wars, and we act all stupid, growing up. So I've never
put each other's eyes out.
You poke your eye out, kid, and. Yeah, as kids, we did crazy stuff. We didn't worry about it, We didn't think about the, That's why I got a scar on my head. So we had we were playing baseball next door. So the two flat next to us is another family of Mexicans because we moved into a predominantly white Irish Catholic neighborhood. I'll tell you the story how we got into that one because the bank lost our papers 3 times. Right. Like I'll tell you the story how we actually got in there. It's a badass story. My grandma was she was boss lady, but that's another story for another day. And so me and the Mexican kids next door, Francisco, Ramses, Moises, and Mario, all right, just playing baseball as kids. And they had a keg, but it wasn't full or anything. It was, so we're just using it as a strike zone. Don't ask me why. So if you hit the top of the keg, you're fine. So it was 3 outs, and I grabbed it. One of the guys that just got I was looking at the keg, like, oh, this is kind of weird, And one of the guys that got it had a new aluminum bat, and he was swinging it, and he cracked me right in my head, dude. I knocked out. I passed out. They were scared, and they said I was out for like 2 minutes, and then they brought me back, and I was like, okay. And I just hopped the fence and went home, and I was blood. Like, what happened? Like, oh no, nothing. I just got hit in the head with a bat. Like, what? Is it a gang member? I was like, no, we were just playing baseball. The guy, and then I explained to him, like, oh, okay. Are you sure? Like, yeah, let's go get stitches. Like, I don't need stitches. No problems. I probably should have gone to get stitches. But like, can I go back out and play? It's like, no, can I go back out there and play? Just in the house.
I know, man. Yeah, man. Back then, man, what nobody trying to take you to the emergency room?
What if I miss the rest of this game that we have in the backyard next door?
So I was like, I don't need stitches as the blood just
rub some dirt on it, kid.
Seriously. It'll stop the bleeding. We'll be good. Give me a second.
There you go.
Yeah, that was nuts. So how about the spring training, baby? It's about to start this week for some team, but the Cubs and Sox next week. I'm excited, man. I really am.
Yeah, me too, man.
I'm really anxious to see how this White Sox rotation fills out at the end of it, because I think we have the top 4, okay. Mm-hmm. And is it going to be Kopech and Lopez fighting for that 5th, which I think it will be, because you got Giolito, you got Giolito, you have Dallas Keuchel, you have Dylan Cease, or Dylan Cease going to be part of that fighting for that 5th spot, and then you have Lance Lynn, those 3, and then you got 4 and 5. You got Dylan Cease, Michael Kopech, and Ray Lopez for 4 and 5, and then the Cubs, they just re-signed Jake Arrieta to the last night or this morning, 1 year, $6 million. And I was like, wait a minute, you let Jake go and sign Yu Darvish, then you trade Yu Darvish to sign Jake Arrieta.
Yeah, that was a weird move. It's gonna be fun, man. It should be an exciting year. I think obviously the White Sox are the hot team. Everybody's going to be looking at them, and the Cubs have done what they've done in the off season. But, we'll see what happens once they start playing here at the end of March. But, I'm disappointed in what the Cubs did, because my thing is, all my life I've wanted to see a Cubs White Sox World Series. Mm-hmm. And I just don't see us getting closer to that after what they did in the offseason. We had both of them in the playoffs last year, which is a rarity when we can actually get them both in at the same time. And, I was like, okay, well, if the White Sox do this and the Cubs do this and build upon what they have, they got a shot. And then, the Cubs just, once I saw Theo was leaving, I was like, okay, there's something going on here. And then all of a sudden, they just started trading people away like they were the Florida Marlins trying to save money. Yeah. So I was like, oh crap, Cubs, what are y'all doing, man? Well, this is not gonna be no fun. So I just want both teams to be good at the same time. That's all I want as a Chicago baseball fan.
I do too, because you know what, it sucks. when we have both teams and one team sucks and the other one like your team sucks, yes, screw you, your mama, and that's not cool. But when you're both good, like we whip your ass, no, we whip your ass, no, we whip your ass, and then they have the games, and it's when both teams are in it, like we're last year, and then we couldn't go to the games,
Right.
those crosstown classics, because before that it was the Cubs, the Cubs were the hot team, and then at some point it was the Sox, but we like those pre-games and those outings that we'd have and the tailgating. It gets fun, just all the trash talking and everything, and then on the field, on the south side, that's truly, and I know Cub fans have said this often. It's really the only, beside opening day, that's really the only time we really sell out, because you got the Cub fans go over there, and it's a playoff atmosphere when they come. It's a playoff atmosphere because you have damn near every seat filled, and you got half the stadium going for you and the White Sox, and the other half going against you. And it's just. From my playing days, there's nothing like playing in front of a full house.
Yeah.
There's nothing like it. When I had, when I was at Holy Cross, at Rita, we'd have, 3,000 people, at a game. All right. When we played Mount Carmel in the state championship, there were 7,000 people. Dude, there was nowhere to move. Nowhere. If you remember the old St. Rita, the north end zone was right by the school. And, that was all packed with people. The visitor stands was packed with people. The walkway to the visitor stands was packed with people. Our stands was packed with people. It was just insane. There was nothing like that. Then I go to Holy Cross and we're getting 25. It wasn't a full house. We averaged about 27,000 a game. And then when I went to Army, oh my God, Jason, that was the last time I was ever intimidated on the football field. My freshman year at Army. Really? Yes. 1989.
Well, I mean, when they score a touchdown, they shooting munitions at you. So they shoot cannon off when they score.
They were, and then it was after the first kickoff. I was on a kickoff team, so I was one of 3 freshmen that traveled.
Okay.
So it was all special teams. Blow out, and I get in late in the game. But the dude that I had to block on the kickoff return team, because I was a kickoff return, I was on all special teams. The dude that I had to block was like 6'1", like 215, 220, but he was obviously a junior, or I don't know what he was, but he was a little older, so he had a few more years in the weight room. Dude, he destroyed me, and every single time they keep scoring. I was like, oh shit, man, not again, dude. I think we had 7 kickoff returns in that first game, and yeah, that was the last time I was intimidated on a football field. Is that dude? And then once he just blew me up the first time, oh man, he seemed to get stronger every time he kept down. They'd come down and just and I have to try and block him. And then my guy probably made a tackle the majority of the time. Like, Sierra, you're not a kickoff return anymore.
Shawn, I always think it's interesting too, in the military academies, how they're able to put teams out there and compete with just other D1 schools, because I mean they don't really do recruiting that much for the athletics, right? I mean, there are a couple of guys that may do that but they're really doing it, because they love the game. They're in great shape, and it just speaks to the discipline of the coaching staff and the players, what they're able to do, because they are not your average college student. They're definitely not your average college athlete, where you just going to school just for sports and you taking a couple of little classes and stay eligible for some of these guys at the top program. They're doing some serious work when they're off the football field.
Yeah, with stuff like that, like you'll get great athletes, but they just the level of athletes that they get might not be at the high end of Division I, but it's high enough where they can be, and plus the discipline of what they're doing.
There you go.
Really helps, because what they do, the issue, and here's the thing that people just seem to forget because of all the talent that we see, the fundamentals. Okay, they are solid on the fundamentals, and so you might not run a 4-3, but I don't have to run a 4-3 if my free safety makes sure he's deeper than the deepest receiver. You know what I mean? And you understand if this guy is really fast and I need to get back quicker. Okay, because you're going to run out of real estate at some point. There's only 120 yards, on the field. And he's going to run. It's inbounds. He's going to run out of real estate at some point. And so the fact that they're a very smart team, The fact that they're extremely fundamentally sound, that's what keeps them in games. It's just when you see them play against a Florida State, a Clemson, you're like, okay, then this talent, which is way up here, the fundamentals just don't work.
Right.
Don't work.
Right. But I think they do a great job, and with their schedule. But let's be honest. I mean, Navy gives Notre Dame hell sometimes, when they play them, and they play them every year. And, I said I was going to do it last year, but COVID hit. But one of the things I want to do, because I've been to an Army-Navy game. I went to that. To go in Philadelphia, but I do want to go to a game at the Air Force Academy in Colorado, because I heard it is just unbelievable view with their stadium in the Rocky Mountains. So that's one of the things I'm going to definitely get to probably in the next year or two. But I just think that's very, interesting in how they do that at the military academies.
Yeah. So speaking about West, I'm really hoping that spring training goes off. I think they're going to allow some fans in there now too. So I think that they're going to allow fans. I'm wondering if they're going to allow fans in for home games. Obviously a limited amount, but still some fans in for home games. I think that's going to be really, really cool if they do, because I'm going to apply for credentials again, and because we're already hooked up through Major League Baseball. Now it just gets filtered back down to the Sox.
Sox, right?
And so hopefully we got a buddy who used to work in the office. Hopefully he can help us this year, because if he can, shoot, I'm in Arizona for 3 or 4 days or 5 days. My boy lives out there. I could stay at his house, so I don't have anything. I don't have any room and board to pay for. No expenses as far as staying someplace. I can stay at his house. So, and I wouldn't be there most of it. Be at the stadium most of the time, and that would be really, really, really dope. So, I would like to see that. One of the things that I'm really, really praying for is Yoan Moncada to really step up. He had COVID last year. He really wasn't right even after he finished. And I feel it, man. To me, I get it. When I go to CrossFit and I can't catch my breath, it feels like the air is really, really heavy. Like that's what he was having. And people talk about have been talking about the hire of Tony La Russa, and I know we got the drunk driving thing and everything, but I think the more and more I think about it, Jay, the more and more I think that that's a great signing for this team, because they're too silly. They're too young, and they're just silly. You look at Eloy, you look at Yoan sometimes, and Yoan can get in funks. I think he might be the guy to say, hey, listen, all right, get to work. He might be the guy to say, you haven't won shit, okay, but you're acting like you've won Gold Gloves and World Series rings. I think that tough love is what this team needs, because the one thing that I don't see in this team, I don't see focus. I don't see laser focus. I don't see the eye of the tiger. I see Tim Anderson have it most of the time. I see Jose Abreu have it most of the time. Yoan Moncada, Eloy Jimenez, nowhere near those others. Okay, Luis Robert, nowhere near those others. And I think you needed a guy who can say, listen, to hell with your press clippings, because that's all potential. I think a guy they need a guy who can really put his foot down and say, I need you to do this. And I think La Russa is. That's why I wanted Ozzie, because Ozzie would tell him in no uncertain terms, like, yeah, you're a 5-tool player, but what have you done? You're walking around here cutting off outfit your teammates and making them look bad, showing them up for what? Or sit them down and curse them out. And trust me, nothing will get lost in translation. You know what I mean? With Ozzie. And that's why I wanted him. But I don't agree with it, but I understand why they didn't sign him. And I think now more and more that this La Russa hire could be a really good thing for this White Sox team. They need that tough love. They need, they may not like it at first, but you got to come to work, and I think Jose Abreu is a good example, but I still think they need a manager saying, whoa, what are you doing? Why aren't you here? What about batting practice? What about fielding practice? Get your ass in here. Oh, you didn't? Okay, you're sitting. That type of thing. And I think La Russa, because with X's and O's, he's fine. He's fine with, he didn't get that Hall of Fame thing for nomination induction for nothing. So I think it could be a really good fit for this team.
I agree. And Dallas Keuchel spoke up last season, when they stuff, he's like, look, we ain't won nothing. What are we doing? And I think I do believe Tim has that. I know Dallas Keuchel has that. I'd like to have one more player who's out there, everyday player, who also kind of has that, because basically what we're talking about is leadership and holding people accountable. You know, Adam Eaton is going to be an interesting. I really did not like that signing. We can only hope that at this point in his career, Adam has learned how to play well with others, so to speak, in the clubhouse. But I mean, there's a guy who's got some experience who, you know, could show some leadership, but it depends on his likability, you know. So we'll see what they do here. But the White Sox are gonna be fun to watch, man. They're gonna score a lot of runs, man. That offense should really be hitting on something. And in terms of that fifth spot, that is gonna be an interesting battle. I would say, you know, Kopech has got the lead. At this point, you know, we'll see what happens coming out of spring training. Dylan Cease is still, you know, a young pitcher. I think he's got a ton of potential, man. He's got a ton of potential, but it's just that he was going through that one bad inning nonsense. And, you know, you can't have those at that level because you give up 4 runs in the inning, you can put your team out the game. So we'll see how he continues to develop as well, you know. I definitely think it's a good problem to have. You know, I also have an issue with Ray Lopez. I think, you know, he's the one who I think is just the mental case that you're not going to be able to fix in Chicago. So, you know, I don't know if they move him to the bullpen, if that helps him, or if they move him via a trade, but he's also got to show something to be of trade value. So, but Rick has got some options. He's got some options, and that's something we can't say he's had, you know, for most of his tenure, but he's got some options this year. So, the White Sox could be players at the trade deadline. They could be buyers, and maybe that'll be the one thing that they need, Shawn, to get them over the top here come playoff time. If they can add a key bat or a key arm at that trade deadline to push them over the top.
I don't think it'll be an arm, Jay. I think that they're so deep in that bullpen. I mean, we're talking Jace Fry, Matt Bummer, you know, Carlos Rodon. I mean, you have a slew, a good 7 guys in that bullpen, and then don't forget Garrett Crochet. You know, you just signed a closer, okay, and then but you also have Garrett Crochet close. I mean, you talk about a lefty hitting triple digits, triple figures. Come on, man. You know what I mean? Like you that is right there is a huge weapon to have and say, hey, listen, we'll in 2022, we'll probably have you starting in, you know, which is what we have you, but in 2021, you're coming out of the bullpen and you're going to close some games, you know, or you're going to, like I said, you have, I can't think of the closer they just signed.
Liam Hendricks.
All right. So you set up for Hendricks in the 8th, Hendricks comes in the 9th. Okay. And then maybe some other points you close out the 9th. You know what I mean? You close out the game. Just give him, because that's the mentality of a closer is like none other. It's you versus you. Can I get my pitches in the right spot? Can I hit my spots? Because if I can, because with the control and you got to trust your catcher. Because if I can, there's no way they can touch me. You know, yeah. Mariano Rivera had one pitch, a cut fastball. One.
But he could put it wherever he wanted to put
and he could pinpoint it wherever the hell he did. Wherever who's the manager? Joe Girardi had it. Wherever Girardi said, "Hey, I need it here, down and away." I need it up here, boom, and he could pinpoint it. And that was one pitch, dude. One.
Broke a lot of back.
Yep. Oh man, it's on a sweet spot. All of a sudden, the last second, it got you right on the fist, busted the bat, stung your hands. You know that. And I think Garrett Crochet, with this guy, with his heat, he's got to work on control now. Now we got a new pitching coach, and my thing is this: how is this new guy going to be able to relate to this team? Is he's a little younger? Is he going to be able to relate to them a little quicker, a little easier, as opposed to Coop who tell you what to do? I wouldn't say you tell you, but Coop was kind of revered, but this guy's here to kind of help. I'm interested to see how that works too, because I think if he can make inroads with this bullpen, man, this is going to be a really good season, because we got the bats, but the pitching is what we really need to shore up.
Right, and and that's going to come down to Tony La Russa and his staff. He basically He kept the hitting coach. He kept Daryl Boston, our good buddy Daryl Boston, at the first base coach. I'm gonna actually try to get Daryl on our show too. He kept Joe McEwing as his third base coach. So he's brought in a new bench coach. He's brought in a new pitching coach, and we'll see how well they can work with the players. If the players buy into Tony, and they buy into his coaching staff, we could have a very special season. If there's friction there, if the players are not getting along with Tony, we'll see. I read a very interesting article a few days ago that was written by Gary Sheffield Jr. He is the son of Gary Sheffield. And he did a very good interview with Tim Anderson. And Tim said, when he was very frank, Tim was like, when they got rid of Ricky and they were bringing in Tony, I was not feeling this at all. From what I knew about Tony, I didn't like him, but he and LaRussa have had a conversation, because I think you and I had even talked, when are they going to talk?
Right.
And it wasn't until recently where they actually had a conversation. So this is going to be very interesting. I think you and I both said it when LaRussa got hired. There are a couple people you need to talk to. You need to talk to Tim Anderson. You need to talk to Jose Abreu, because those are the two who, if the other players see those two buying in, then they'll follow. So I was very happy to hear that they did have that meeting and they have talked. And I think, here's what I want to see with the White Sox. Spring training is getting ready to start. Pitchers and catchers are going to report. But, the other position players can always report early.
Mm-hmm.
Not sure if they're going to do that this year with the COVID guidelines. Maybe they've taken that whole thing out. But, I've always found it interesting when you have players who show up early for camp, because that's telling me I'm here to do business. I want to get better. I want us to win. Right. I want us to, and you've got Andrew Vaughn, who possibly could be on the opening day roster. If he, shows some, they've got talent and they're deep. The White Sox are very deep all around. So I believe competition brings out the best in people. So I want to see people competing for jobs out there. I don't want to see anybody comfortable.
Hey, you couldn't have said it better. Hey, man, 3 hours has come and gone, man. I'd like to thank my guests, man. We had a great show. Shawn Devaney from Heavy.com called in, talked Bulls with us. I want to thank Eric Lambert from Sports Mockery for calling in, talking Bears with us. And then, our usual motley crew of characters, Joseph Phillips from the Chicago Crusader, along with Jason Palmer from the Chicago Crusader, and then Kenneth Davis from That Davis Show, and my co-host in absentia, Maya Kai, and also my man, the Puerto Rican Swiss Army knife himself, Ivan Vargas. We all help make this a wonderful show. I want to say thanks to my executive producer, Elliot Baez, and our social media guru himself, Clarence Council III. So, guys, we're going to take a 45-hour break. All right. And on the other side of that break, we'll see you again, 9 a.m. to noon Central Standard Time on Wednesday, or Wednesday, however you want to say it, on Wednesday. All right. So for Jason Palmer and everybody in my Puerto Rican Swiss Army knife, Ivan Vargas.
So Wednesday, hump day. It's hump day Wednesday, Shawn. Wednesday.
It's not hump day today?
Not today. Wednesday is hump day, Shawn.
Okay.
Just write that down.
Sorry, you can't. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, hey, Kingley man, thank you. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in. We appreciate it. So we'll see you. So we got 2 words for you. Oh, that's right. No show tonight. You mentioned that. See, I'm telling you, I'm just crazy. I was about to say, who's on the show, Jason? Like for the 7th time, Shawn, we don't have the show.
You all right.
I'm supposed to be in Miami. I'm not happy about it. All right, guys. We'll see you on Wednesday.
Peace.
We out.